Chapter 159. The little girl still had some conscience. Huashidu put down his pen and looked at Bei Yunj. Is the bar fun? Huashidu asked in a light tone. Not really. Bei Yunj was halfway through her supper when she heard this question and almost choked. Seeing this, Huashidu retracted his gaze and smiled silently. 20 minutes later. The two of them finished their supper quietly. Not long after, there was a knock on the door. After Aunt Meow pushed the door open, she smiled meaningfully and glanced at the two of them. Sir, miss, I'll take the cutlery away first. Okay. Huashidu replied nonchalantly. After Aunt Meow left, his gaze landed on Bei Yunj, who did not intend to leave. Brother, don't be angry. I know I'm wrong. Bei Yunj saw that the noble and handsome man in front of her did not seem to be moved, so she added, in the future, I will study hard. Unexpectedly, the man's thin red lips curled up and his half-smiling voice sounded in a low voice. Really? Really? Bei Yunj did not even blink. But the next moment, Huashidu suddenly stood up and walked towards the door with his long legs that were overly abstinent under his black suit pants. Coincidentally, Assistant Singh went to buy a stack of college entrance examination exercises for you last time. I'll get them for you. Hearing this, Bei Yunj's beautiful eyes twitched. She immediately stood up and followed behind Huashidu. Brother, it's already night time. It's okay, I'll accompany you. The corners of Huashidu's eyes curled up, mixed with an ambiguous gentleness. Just like his lazy and magnetic voice, it was thin and seductive. However, as soon as he finished speaking, the corners of Bei Yunj's mouth twitched. She silently remembered Sing Su. Just as Huashidu was about to open the door, Bei Yunj tugged at his sleeve and said tactfully, Brother, it's better for us to be reasonable. Is that so? Then I'll listen. Huashidu lifted his thin eyelids and leaned against the wall loosely. His posture was light and playful. Under the light, his pair of cold, pale-colored eyes were filled with deep and shallow light as he stared straight at her. The man's indifferent and abstinent appearance was both bad and lustful. Bei Yunj organized her thoughts. Brother, I'm already an adult. Actually, before he could finish his sentence. Suddenly, Bei Yunj heard a soft sound, and then somehow, the room fell into darkness. She subconsciously moved closer to Huashidu, but unexpectedly, she bumped into a warm and firm chest. Through the thin shirt, she could still feel the man's hot and beating heart. A short while later, Bei Yunj heard him chuckle in a low voice. Even though she was in the dark, she could imagine his lazy and intimate posture at this moment, and his unhurried manner as he spoke. You still want to reason with your brother? Bei Yunj, what a childish and unreasonable man. Brother, turn on the lights. Bei Yunj moved away slightly, but her hand was still tightly holding onto Huashidu's sleeve. Big brother is here. What are you afraid of? Huashidu stretched out his hand lazily and pinched the back of her neck teasingly. Bei Yunj almost did not notice that when Huashidu was around, she was not as uneasy and anxious as before. The next moment, Huashidu still took care of the little girl's emotions. He turned on the lights and pinched her face. Next time, don't let your brother catch you going to the bar again. Also, why did you fight? After the light in front of Bei Yunj's eyes returned to normal, she let go of the man's sleeve. Chapter 160. She let go of Huashidu's sleeve and looked elsewhere. Not even a fight. For some reason, Bei Yunj already felt that Huashidu had discovered that she was afraid of the dark. However, before Bei Yunj could think further, the man beside her reached out and messed up her hair. Sure, but brother will be worried. Bei Yunj, whose hair was messy, was speechless. I don't know what made my little girl so angry. The man's deep and melodious voice rolled along with the sexy tip of his throat and overflowed. Huishidu could tell that Bei Yunj was very concerned about old Master Qin. The person who could make her come out in the middle of the night and secretly fight obviously made the little girl very unhappy. He touched someone very important to me. Bei Yunj looked up and smiled at Huishidu. Just like brother. Hearing this, Huishidu's unwavering gaze landed on Bei Yunj. He chuckled softly and leaned closer to her. Is my Yunyun so powerful? The man's hoarse and magnetic voice was long and lazy, but it made people blush and their hearts beat faster. Then from now on, Yunyun has to protect brother well. Bei Yunj reacted. There was still someone who dared to provoke him. However, before that, Yunyun has to tell me everything. He held Bei Yunj's hand and seemed to be coaxing her casually. Yunyun, don't be afraid. Brother will be afraid. Bei Yunj paused and looked at the man in front of her. Suddenly, she wanted to ask a very stupid question. Brother, why are you so good to me? Bei Yunj blurted out. A moment later, she inadvertently met his eyes and her gaze seemed to burn. His eyes were dark, but after a while, his lips curled up lightly. Because, brother's Yunyun should get whatever she wants. The next day, Bei Yunj had just received a call from the form teacher to ask about her. After taking leave, she drove to the hospital again. Unexpectedly, the moment she pushed open the door, she saw Zhong Xinglin chatting with the old master. Why are you here so early? The old man's eyes lit up, and his tone became gentler. Bei Yunj nodded and put the porridge she had prepared on the table. Grandpa, have you eaten? Not yet. The old man said happily. When Zhong Xinglin heard that, he silently glanced at the porridge box that the old man had thrown away in the trash can. Then, Grandpa, try it. The taste of this congee is quite good. Bei Yunj opened the porridge box for the old man and handed him a pair of chopsticks. Then, he looked at Zhong Xinglin. Mr. Zhong, why are you here? I've been here for a long time. Zhong Xinglin's eyes were filled with grief. It had to be said that Zhong Xinglin felt sour in his heart. If he had such a granddaughter, he would treat her like a princess. How could he bear to let her buy food for him? I have some matters to discuss with Miss Pei in private. Zhong Xinglin added. Hearing this, Bei Yunj's fingers paused for a moment before she said casually, okay. In the garden downstairs. Miss Pei's aptitude is amazing. Before this, I really didn't expect that the headlines would be related to Miss Pei. I think Mr. Zhong should know that I have already signed a contract with Marcus. Bei Yunj didn't hesitate. When Zhong Xinglin heard Bei Yunj admit it personally, his heart was still in turmoil. She was only 19 years old. Marcus had said that the main project of their computing institute this year was Bei Yunj, with others as support. Of course, if Miss Pei still doesn't like it, you can still continue to be our foreign aid member. Thank you. If Elder Zhong needs me, feel free to let me know. Bei Yunj didn't hesitate and smiled. She did need an atmosphere to immerse herself in, but it was obviously not enough at home. A.M. was indeed her best choice. Then it's settled. Zhong Xinglin couldn't stop smiling when he heard this. Okay. Bei Yunj nodded. Soon. Zhong Xinglin watched Bei Yunj leave and hurriedly called Marcus. A few minutes later, the call went through. Zhong Xinglin hurriedly hid the smile on his face and coughed lightly. Old thing, are you crazy? Do you know what time it is? Chapter 162. But what Marcus did not expect was, next, he wanted to kill someone even more. It's nothing, Xiao Ma. I'm just thinking that it's not easy for us to be brothers for so many years. Thank you. Zhong Xinglin coughed softly and said gently. Unexpectedly, Marcus laughed. It's not easy. When we were still university alumni, our hairlines were the same. Now that I'm by your side, others might think that you're my father, right? Zhong Xinglin also put on a fake smile. Don't think that I don't know that you didn't go to the seminar last year because you secretly went for a hair transplant. Nonsense. I didn't. Marcus immediately retorted. Zhong Xinglin chuckled. You're already so old and you're still faking it. I'm really embarrassed for you. Marcus tried his best to suppress his anger and smiled. Don't be jealous of our institute this year. There's another ruthless character coming this year. You're deliberately talking nonsense. Wait, Marcus, I almost forgot to tell you something. What? Marcus suddenly had a bad premonition. You're new member, right? I'll take good care of her for you. All the members of A.M. will take good care of her, Zhong Xinglin said considerately. What? Tell me clearly. Does our member need you to take care of her? Marcus was instantly jolted awake when he heard this. Damn, I've already told Bai Yunj that she doesn't need to sign any contract. Our institute will let her use it for free. You don't have to be polite. Your member is my member. We're all family, Zhong Xinglin comforted him. Who's family with an old man like you? Zhong Xinglin, don't you have any shame? Marcus gritted his teeth. In the end, he still couldn't guard against the old fox. All right, I'm hanging up. Good night, Marcus. Zhong Xinglin hung up the phone with a smile. He felt refreshed. Who asked him to show off every day? He had finally vented his anger today. However, Marcus, on the other hand, was no longer sleepy. He wished he could buy a plane ticket right now to murder Zhong Xinglin. Good man, just you wait. Don't think that I can't deal with you just because you're hiding in country. Marcus quickly got out of bed and opened his mailbox. When he saw the report in country A and Zhong Xinglin's name, he immediately replied to the email. After doing all this, Marcus beamed with joy. Surnamed Zhong, pray that you can survive the next month. Until the next day. When Bai Yunj returned to school, she found out that something had happened to her again yesterday. Early in the morning, the head of teaching was waiting for her in class. Bai Yunj, you have the right to not work hard. But as a high school student, you should abide by the school rules. You're not here to ruin Hengda's reputation. The dean's face darkened. When Bai Yunj heard this, he lazily glanced at Chu Zhixing and raised his eyebrows. He was asking him what was going on. Chu Zhixing stood up. Director, Bai Yunj is not that kind of student. She's not in puppy love. Hearing this, Bai Yunj couldn't help but chuckle. She was a little surprised. She didn't expect that this phrase would be related to her now. You think that's true just because you say so? After school on Thursday, we'll meet at the pavilion at the back of the school at 6:30 p.m. This is written clearly. Who else could have framed her? Bai Yunj raised his eyelids and casually tore off the letter. Pei Yun. Chapter 163. In an instant. The dean shut his mouth subconsciously. The chill on his back did not go away for a long time. How could a student have such a terrifying gaze? Sure enough, she was not a good student in the past. Did you find this letter in my seat? Bai Yunj looked at Chu Zhixing. Chu Zhixing's expression was ugly, but he could only nod. At noon yesterday, the dean seemed to have received an anonymous report that someone in Class 7 was in a relationship. Later, when the dean came to Class 7 to lecture them, the Chinese class representative in the class happened to be collecting homework. As for the letter, it came from Bai Yunj's homework. Everyone saw it with their own eyes. Teacher, this was found in my seat. Is it mine? Bai Yunj asked carelessly in return. What else could it be? The dean's expression was not very good. However, When Bei Yunj heard this, her overly beautiful eyebrows relaxed and she smiled lazily. She casually sat in her seat and suddenly took out stacks of love letters from her drawer. There were 3 stacks in total, which could fill half of the drawer. Teacher, which one are you talking about? For a moment, the atmosphere fell into a strange silence. Bei Yunj lazily pulled off her gray tie, looking bright and high-spirited. Every frown and smile of hers was charming. The dean's face was so dark that it could drip ink. Obviously, he did not expect Bei Yunj to be in such a situation. Even the students in the class were in disbelief. Didn't they say that Bei Yunj had a bad reputation in school? Did all the boys not like this kind of girl who looked like a womanizer? All of them were pig trotters. Oh no, my gay friend secretly gave her a love letter last time. She can't be so unlucky, right? A delicate girl next to her said uneasily. Your gay friend, the one from class 1. Yes. Isn't that a girl? Can't a girl give a love letter? She retorted. At this moment, everyone fell silent. Okay. It turned out that it was not only boys who gave her love letters. Bei Yunj, what kind of nonsense are you doing at school? The dean's face was ashen. If Bei Yunj hadn't messed around, would so many people have sent her love letters? All of a sudden. Why is it so quiet? Lu Yuanci, who had arrived late, glanced at everyone before focusing his gaze on Bei Yunj's table. He said in an unhappy tone, "Why do you have more than me?" Then, before anyone could react, they saw their school bully take out 2 big stacks of love letters from the drawer. Although Lu Yuanci had fewer tickets than Bei Yunj, it was still the first time Class 7 had seen such a big scene. Moments later, Lu Yuanci's eyes were sharp. He picked out a pink envelope from Bei Yunj's stack of envelopes, and then took out the envelope on top of his own. Both letters were signed by the same girl. Bei Yunj, Lu Yuanci chuckled. You're still casting a net. Chapter 164. Dean, do I have to be punished just because I received a love letter? Lu Yuanci's voice had the unique magnetism of a young man as he chuckled softly. Then can I still graduate in this lifetime? Hearing this, the people in the class did not dare to laugh too loudly, but the dean's face was livid. He glanced at Bei Yunj and Lu Yuanci darkly. Both of you, come to my office. With that said, the dean left Class 7. However, if this was in the past, Lu Yuanci would never go over. But now, seeing Bei Yunj walk out, he could only follow her. Bei Yunj. In the long corridor, Lu Yuanci shouted from behind. What's wrong? Bei Yunj asked. Qin Youjiao, has she harmed you before? Lu Yuanci asked. Hearing this, Bei Yunj turned around and chuckled softly. You're asking me. I'll believe you if you say it. Lu Yuanci looked at her calmly. Before this, he had always thought that this was a trivial matter between girls. However, ever since Mrs. Qin came to school and caused a ruckus, he realized that he was wrong. Bei Yunj was surprised. She looked at Lu Yuanci. Don't you like Qin Youjiao? Lu Yuanci furrowed his eyebrows. It's admiration, okay? You're my desk mate, I know you better. If she... Student Lu, do you remember the last time Qin Youjiao came to school with a bandage on her arm? Bei Yunj's eyes curved into crescents, looking wild and playful. I did it. With that said, without waiting for Lu Yuanci to react, she walked towards the office. Bei Yunj had always been someone who did as she pleased and did not like to explain too much to others. In the original novel, Lu Yuanci had indeed fallen for Qin Youjiao, so Bei Yunj did not intend to make him believe anything. In the office, Bei Yunj had just arrived when she heard the dean call Mrs. Qin. However, the dean did not expect that the moment he mentioned Bei Yunji's name, Mrs. Qin would hang up the call very quickly without saying anything. At this moment, the dean's expression changed. However, Bei Yunji's form teacher rushed over. "Director, Bei Yunj just started class today. Why don't I take her first?" Before the homeroom teacher could finish her sentence, she was interrupted by the dean. "If you didn't spoil her, she wouldn't be so arrogant. Hengda's reputation is going to be ruined by her alone. Ignorant and incompetent, completely unlike a student." "Sir, you don't understand student pay." "Actually, student pay," the form teacher explained patiently. "Cut the crap. Get her parents here now," the teaching director said angrily. The homeroom teacher glanced at Bei Yunj. When she thought of the explicit letter, she felt a little helpless. She had no choice but to take out her phone and send a message to the Bei Yunj's parents group. Class 7's homeroom teacher. "Hello, parents. I'm sorry for disturbing you. May I ask if the two of you have time to come to school at this time?" Qin Yu, yes. Qin Lang, sure. The head teacher's eyelids twitched as he carefully typed in the message. Head teacher of class 7, one is enough, Rose, Qin Lang, me. Qin Yu, what does it have to do with you? Question, Qin Lang at class 7's homeroom teacher, Teacher Wen, I've already taken my keys and left the house. Seeing these messages, the homeroom teacher's heart skipped a beat, afraid that the two of them would start scolding each other. But in the next moment, the homeroom teacher saw a message notification. The group leader, Qin Yu, has removed the group member, Qin Lang, from the group chat. Chapter 165. Then, Qin Yu sent another message. Qin Yu, I'm ignorant. I've made a fool of myself in front of Teacher Wen. Qin Yu, where is Gu Er? Qin Yu, flower for you. JPG, the form teacher's eyelids twitched, as if she had just finished watching a battle between wealthy families. With trembling hands, she sent Qin Yu the school building number. Soon after Qin Lang realized that he had been removed from the group, he sent messages to Qin Yu crazily. Yes, are you human? Question, Qin Yu, pull him back. Did you hear that? Okay, Qin Yu. I'm going to expose your ugly face now and let your fans see what kind of dog they have become fans of. Smile, however, at this moment. Qin Yu had already gotten into the nanny van and went to Hengda High School with a clear conscience. Then, he glanced at the dozen or so messages sent by Qin Lang as if nothing had happened. His fingers moved lazily and he blocked the person directly. At the same time, Qin Lang, who was at the base, had just sent a message when he received a red exclamation mark. Qin Yu, this old B** starred, Hengda High School. Everyone gathered at the entrance of the office and discussed animatedly. How long had it been since she had transferred schools? They almost didn't know how many times Bei Yunji's parents had come to school. However, everyone was obviously watching the show. Ever since Mrs. Qin publicly cut ties with her, everyone finally knew that Bei Yunj was not an illegitimate daughter, but Mrs. Qin's biological daughter. They were really curious about the attitude of the parents of a wealthy young lady towards puppy love. Not far away, at the staircase, Qin Yojiao stood beside a girl who could barely be considered pretty. Don't worry, no one will suspect you. Will we really not be exposed? The girl's expression was empty as she muttered in fear. The information in the report letter can only prove that it's a girl from class 7. No one will think that it's you. But, Bei Yunj. The girl felt guilty. Qin Yojiao interrupted her with a smile. Think about it carefully. If you don't let Bei Yunj take the blame, they will still suspect you in the end. Do you still want this semester's scholarship? Hearing the last sentence, the girl's body stiffened, her face turned pale, and her clenched fists gradually loosened. I understand. She glanced at the half-closed office door and slowly began to convince herself. It's okay. Bei Yunj did not have a good reputation. She was the daughter of the Qin family. Someone would settle everything for her. This matter wouldn't cause any trouble at all. The girl's heart was still in a mess. However, when she saw Qin Yu walking down the stairs, her eyes lit up but quickly dimmed. An unknown emotion rose in her heart. Bei Yunj was really lucky. She was born with what others envied. On the other hand, she had to worry about the scholarship every day, afraid that she wouldn't be able to save enough money for the next semester's tuition fees. Look! Was that Qin Yu? F***ck, Qin Yu is here to be Bei Yunj's guardian. What kind of godly fate does Bei Yunj have? You're not surprised, right? You didn't know that Mrs. Qin came to school to cause trouble last time, right? You didn't see how Qin Yu and Qin Lang doted on their sister. They were very fierce. What? There's such a thing. I'm envious. However, don't the Qin brothers like Qin Yojiao more? Chapter 166. That's true. Qin Yojiao is a proud girl. How can her parents be called over? Only Bei Yunj can get this treatment. Yeah, who doesn't like a smarter and more capable sister? Hearing these words, a dark look flashed past Qin Yojiao's eyes and she remembered Qin Yu's attitude towards her recently. Student Qin, I'll go over and take a look first. The girl did not notice Qin Yojiao's expression and only said, Okay, go ahead. Qin Yojiao smiled, but after the girl left, the smile on her face immediately disappeared. Bei Yunj, you're really capable. You can actually force me to this extent. Qin Yojiao stared at the staircase expressionlessly before suddenly bursting into laughter. Her pretty face was almost twisted. Soon. Just as everyone could not help but secretly take out their phones to take photos of Qin Yu, they suddenly heard a scream not far away. Soon, someone shouted. Oh no! Qin Yojiao fell downstairs. Is there anyone coming over? Bring her to the hospital quickly. These words immediately shocked everyone. They didn't expect that these things would happen one after another on the same day. Go quickly, what are you waiting for? Go and get the teacher to inform the parents. The girl who had always been on good terms with Qin Yojiao helped her up anxiously and shouted at them. Wait, isn't Qin Yu here? That's Qin Yojiao's second brother. Let Qin Yu send her to the hospital. Yeah, hurry and find Qin Yu. At this moment, many people surged to look for Qin Yu. After that, just as Qin Yu reached the third floor, a girl said softly with a red face. Mr. Qin, student Qin Yojiao fell downstairs and is very serious now. She's at the staircase over there. Do you want to? Hearing this, Qin Yu looked up slowly. His eyes were still handsome and arrogant, making people dazed. However, in the next moment, everyone saw Qin Yu buttoning up his black suit and speaking slowly. I'm sorry, can you move aside? This attitude made the blushing girl's face turn pale and her body stiffen on the spot. Seeing this, Qin Yu walked around the girl and prepared to continue looking for the office. Mr. Qin. Are you going to look for Bei Yunj? But Qin Yojiao is injured now, how can you? Contact her parents if you have any problems. I'm just Bei Yunj's brother. Qin Yu's low and magnetic voice was slightly impatient and he did not give her any extra glances. His attitude caused everyone to be dumbstruck. What's going on? Did Qin Yu mean that Qin Yojiao was not his younger sister and Bei Yunj was his younger sister? Wait, why couldn't they understand what he was saying? Was this world a fantasy? At this very moment, When the girl heard this, she felt an inexplicable sense of hostility towards Bai Yunj. She could not help but say bitterly, even if Mr. Qin quarreled with Qin Yojiao, he shouldn't ignore her like this. Meanwhile, not far away, a gentle voice sounded. Second brother. Following that, everyone turned around and saw Qin Yojiao's leg covered in blood. She was being supported by someone as she struggled to walk over with reddened eyes. Qin Yojiao hid the strong hatred towards Bai Yunj in her eyes. If it wasn't for Bai Yunj, she wouldn't have braced herself and done this just to make Qin Yu's heart ache for her. However, as long as Qin Yu was willing to take her to the hospital, she would win this battle. At this thought, Qin Yojiao's frown eased. Chapter 167. Within moments, Qin Yojiao's eyes were red as she sobbed. Second brother, Jiao Jiao hurts. With that said, Qin Yojiao still walked forward, wanting to hug Qin Yu's waist and act coquettishly. Even the others who saw this scene were moved. Thinking about it, no matter how angry Qin Yu was at Qin Yojiao, his anger would definitely dissipate when he saw his goddess sister like this. But in the next second, a scene that left everyone dumbfounded appeared. After Qin Yu saw Qin Yojiao pouncing on him, a layer of defense automatically appeared all over his body, as if he had been approached by germs. Then, before Qin Yojiao could hug Qin Yu moved to the side and avoided Qin Yojiao's contact. As for Qin Yojiao, she fell to the ground. She fell miserably and was in a sorry state. Everyone was dumbfounded by this scene. They even forgot to help Qin Yojiao up. How dangerous! After a while, Qin Yu heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Qin Yojiao did not touch him. Otherwise, if Gu heard about it, he would be unclean. Second brother, Yu, Qin Yojiao was stunned from the fall. When she regained her senses, she looked at Qin Yu in shame and disbelief, her face livid. She had never been treated like this since she was young. Besides, this person was her second brother. Don't shout. It'll make people misunderstand our relationship. There was no emotion in Qin Yu's ink-black eyes. His deep and superior eyes made him look unreasonable. These words made everyone even more confused about the Qin family's affairs. Wasn't Bai Yunj the one who had been cut off? Then what was going on between Qin Yojiao and Qin Yu? Wasn't Qin Yojiao the most doted on by her brothers? However, looking at the situation in front of him, Qin Yu would rather Qin Yojiao fall in front of him than touch her. Those who didn't know better would think that Qin Yojiao was sick. Is it because mom hates Bai Yunj that second brother thinks that I did this? Qin Yojiao bit her lip and asked in a trembling voice, ignoring the injuries all over her body. The emotions in Qin Yu's eyes were unclear and there was a faint mocking smile on his thin lips. He actually treated a person like Qin Yojiao, who was ruthless to herself, like a little white rabbit in his previous life. However, when the others heard this, they all thought that they had heard the inside story of a wealthy family. It turned out that Qin Yojiao and Qin Yu did not have a good relationship because of Bai Yunj. Bai Yunj's methods were indeed amazing. First, she had received the Qin family's acknowledgement, and now, even Qin Yu was coaxed into submission. However, it was no wonder. After all, Qin Yu was not at home all year round and did not know anything. At a time like this, you still want to drag her down. Qin Yu's question made Qin Yojiao's body stiffen. Soon, tears filled her eyes again and she said aggrievedly, "Second brother, I didn't," suddenly. The door of the office beside her was pushed open and the teacher was shocked when she saw Qin Yojiao lying on the floor covered in blood. What's going on? Everyone was silent. After all, she couldn't say that Qin Yojiao had fallen herself and wanted to hug Qin Yu later, but he avoided her. That's why it dealt a second round of damage, right? Ridiculous. Hurry up and help him up. What are you all looking at? After the teacher finished speaking, she suddenly paused and realized that Qin Yu was among the people watching the show. Qin Yu looked at Qin Yojiao with an indifferent gaze. He snorted softly and the corners of his lips curled up. Qin Yojiao, do you think everything will be fine just because you have someone protecting you at home? In the end, he took a deep breath and handed the letter to Qin Yu. This letter fell out of Bei Yunji's homework book. Other than Bei Yunji, no one else in Class 7 has transferred schools. Hearing this, Qin Yu took the letter and looked at it. One of the sentences was written, "Thank you for appearing. From the moment you transferred to Class 7, I couldn't take my eyes off you. I'll see you at the school pavilion on Thursday at 6:30 p.m. After reading it, the coldness around Qin Yu was terrifying. P.S. End of 2 chapters. Why are all of you so hardworking? You little rascals. Chapter 169. Unable to give up. Was this brat too stubborn? How dare he have designs on Qin Yu's sister? Qin Yu's handsome face darkened. At this moment, Bei Yunji happened to glance at the girl who had just chatted with Qin Yojiao. This seemed to be their class's Chinese class representative. Bei Yunji's eyebrows moved slightly and she noticed that the girl was tidying up her exercise books while looking at them from time to time with sparkling eyes. Seeing this, Bei Yunji's lips curled up. Suddenly, everyone heard Bei Yunji say slowly, "Teacher Wen, am I the only girl who transferred from our class?" With that said, Bei Yunji saw from the corner of her eye that the girl froze and did not dare to breathe. Yes, the form teacher took a deep breath and nodded. Then, Bei Yunji raised her eyes slightly. Where's the person who changed shifts? In an instant, the girl, who had been able to calm down just now, dropped the exercise books she was holding onto the floor. Similarly, her loss of composure attracted everyone's attention. I remember. Xie Ziyue transferred from Class 1 to Class 7 in Year 1. The form teacher suddenly remembered. Teacher Wen, are you suspecting me? Xie Ziyue's face was filled with disbelief and her voice couldn't help but raise. Teacher Wen, are you siding with Bei Yunji because of Bei Yunji's background? Another girl in the office immediately grabbed Xie Ziyue's hand and mocked the form teacher. Bei Yunji's family is rich, but you can't slander others for no reason, right? Teacher Wen, have you forgotten who won glory for our class this time and got into the top 20 of the cohort? At this point, she glanced at Bei Yunji with disdain and changed the topic. Unlike a certain someone who always causes trouble and thinks she's so great. Is it your place to talk about my sister? Qin Yu's cold voice sounded. This made the girl who had spoken up for Xie Ziyue turn red and pale. She didn't expect Qin Yu to be so protective of Bei Yunji. How many girls of this age hadn't liked Qin Yu? At this moment, it was the girl's first time seeing Qin Yu's handsome face and she couldn't help feeling wronged. Even if Bei Yunji is your sister, she will only drag you down and ruin your reputation. She bit her lip as if she was thinking for Qin Yu. Qin Yojiao is more like your sister. You don't have to do it for Bei Yunji. Suddenly, Qin Yu snorted softly. His magnetic and sexy voice was filled with extremely cold disdain. So what if I have a good reputation? Can you compare to half a strand of my goo? These words. Qin Yu, so what if you're popular in the entertainment industry now? The girl pointed at Bei Yunji, the sourness and jealousy in her chest making her unable to think. A person like her is a scourge. My goo is my life. No one has the right to point fingers. Qin Yu's expression was lazy and he suddenly smirked. As for the other person you mentioned, can she be compared to my goo? I, Qin Yu, only have one biological sister, and that's Bei Yunji. Not to mention the other students, even the teachers were confused by these words. Bei Yunji had not appeared in the Qin family for more than 10 years. Suddenly, she had become the legitimate young lady of the Qin family. And now, Qin Yu was starting to disown Qin Yo Jiao. Wasn't she the princess that the Qin family doted on? Chapter 170. But now, no matter who looked at it, they felt that the rumors were fake. This Qin Yo Jiao didn't look like someone who was doted on at all. At this moment, Qin Yu's ink-like eyes were cold and his tone was impatient. Regardless of whether he talked to my baby or not, let that brat come out now. Ha! A toad still wanted to touch his swan princess. He was tired of living. This. We still don't know who is in a relationship with Bei Yunj. The dean's expression changed. Hearing this, Qin Yu turned to look at the dean with an even colder gaze. He smiled faintly. So, just based on this letter, you're insisting that my sister is in a relationship? Not really. Before this, a classmate reported that a student from class 7 was in a relationship. I also saw that letter fall out of Bei Yunj's workbook when I was inspecting. The dean was terrified. After all, this was the second young master of the Qin family and the most popular best actor in the entertainment industry. Dean, the situation is not clear yet. We can't say that this letter is from Bei Yunj, the form teacher couldn't help but say. Teacher Wen, you mean that I'm the one in a relationship? Xie Ziyue suddenly became agitated. She covered her lips with both hands and her shoulders trembled slightly. It was as if she had suffered a great grievance. The form teacher was speechless. Teacher Wen, as teachers, we need to be fair. The dean suddenly said in a low voice. In his opinion, Bei Yunj was ignorant and incompetent and would only cause trouble. However, Xie Ziyue was different. She was the one who received the scholarship every year and was even the vice class monitor of class 7. She was a typical good student. Between the two of them, Bei Yunj was the only one who was in a relationship. The form teacher's lips moved, but in the end, he could only say, Dean is right, Bei Yunj, didn't you refuse to admit it? Then explain yourself and make us believe you. The dean's tone was stern. Whether I admit it or not has nothing to do with whether I need to explain or not. She chuckled lazily. You. Also, Dean, do I need to hide my relationship? Bei Yunj seemed to be stating the truth casually. For a moment, it was hard to refute him. After that, she sneered and tapped the table with her fingertips. If that's really the case, how embarrassing would he be for me? How could he be so unpresentable? Lu Yuanzi couldn't help but burst into laughter when he heard Pei Yan's unique words. However, after laughing, he felt Qin Yu's dark gaze from the side. Lu Yuanzi, as expected of his brother, his sense of danger was extremely strong. The dean flew into a rage out of humiliation. Bei Yunj, don't be unreasonable. Hengda's director is so capable now. Qin Yu's cold voice sounded slowly. Suddenly, the dean's expression changed. No. Mr. Qin, you misunderstood. My Qin family has invested a lot in Hengda this year. It's more than enough to change the teaching director for the second year. Qin Yu's words immediately made the dean's face pale. The rest of the people did not expect Qin Yu to threaten someone in public for Bei Yunj. Bei Yunj's thin eyelids moved and after glancing at Qin Yu, she remained silent. Suddenly, Xie Ziyue spoke. I remember that before. Ren Pengfei often came to our class. She gritted her teeth. Chapter 171. However, her friend froze when she heard what Xie Ziyue said. Didn't Ren Pengfei come to class 7 often to look for Xie Ziyue? The girl stared at Xie Ziyue with wide eyes and suddenly remembered the ambiguous relationship between Ren Pengfei and Xie Ziyue, so this letter was not from Bei Yunj, but from Xie Ziyue? But then, when the girl came back to her senses, she looked at Xie Ziyue with a complicated expression. Finally, she lowered her head and chose to remain silent. She could not testify against her friend just because of Bei Yunji. Ren Pengfei. The form teacher had some impression of this student. He seemed to be from class 1. Moreover, he was from the same school as Bei Yunji and had transferred to Hingde. However, one of them had transferred in the second semester of senior high. The other had transferred in this semester. Yes, Ren Pengfei said himself that Bei Yunji had pursued him before. Xie Ziyue turned to look at her friend. Aya was the one who told me about this. Isn't that right, Aya? Aya stiffened and nodded. Yes. Hearing this, the atmosphere became even colder. Even the form teacher felt that in this situation, it would be very difficult for Bei Yunji to clear her name. Do you know Ren Pengfei? Lu Yuanzi asked Bei Yunji in a low voice. Bei Yunji was silent for a while before she pursed her red lips and said coldly, I know him. Strictly speaking, it was the original owner who knew Ren Pengfei. He was the boy from the next class whom the original owner knew when she was in high school. He was also one of the bullies who had bullied the original owner. At first, the original owner did not suffer much malice when she was in high school. But inexplicably, one day, Ren Pengfei started to pester the original owner. This caused the original owner to be looked down upon by the girls in the class. They thought that the original owner had deliberately seduced him. Otherwise, why would Ren Pengfei like her? Later, after a period of pointing fingers at her, the original owner could not take it anymore and rejected Ren Pengfei in front of everyone. But the original owner did not expect that this would be the beginning of her nightmare. Because of Ren Pengfei's instigation, everyone began to maliciously attack her and humiliate her. After recalling all this, Bei Yunji slowly rubbed her fingertips. Suddenly, Aya said, I heard that Ren Pengfei transferred schools because of a girl, right? As soon as he finished speaking, the expressions of the dean and the homeroom teacher changed. Indeed. Ren Pengfei transferred schools because he impregnated a girl in that school. Later, his father gave a lot of money to the girl's family to keep the peace. Then, he changed schools for his son. Hurry up and get Ren Pengfei here. The dean's face darkened. The students of Hingde would never allow such humiliation to exist. If Bei Yunji and Ren Pengfei really did something shameful, he would definitely ask the principal to kick them out of Hingde. After someone went to look for Ren Pengfei, Bei Yunji's eyes fell on Xie Ziyue. Xie Ziyue's body stiffened. She didn't dare to look Bei Yunji in the eye, but she pretended to be calm. Love at this age is really fragile. Bei Yunji's eyes were bright and unscrupulous. She did not care about the dean's expression, who looked like he wanted to eat her alive. Bei Yunji, what nonsense are you talking about? Xie Ziyue's teeth were almost chattering. She held on for dear life. Dean, if we find out who wrote this letter in the end, what will you do? What do you plan to do? Bei Yunji asked slowly. Chapter 172. The dean didn't even think about it. You'll be expelled. Hearing this, Xie Ziyue almost lost her balance. Beside her, Xiaoya's heart skipped a beat. She didn't expect the matter to blow up so badly. In the past, the school had caught many couples in puppy love, but at most, they would reflect on themselves or be punished. But this time, the situation was obviously serious. Okay. Bei Yunji smiled carelessly. 10 minutes later. Just then, a boy who didn't even look handsome walked in. He had a strong body and wheat-colored skin. Dean, why are you looking for me? With that said, Ren Pengfei suddenly noticed Xie Ziyue beside him and his heart skipped a beat. But soon, he noticed another beautiful girl next to him. She looked a little familiar. After that, When Ren Pengfei regained his senses, his eyes widened in disbelief. Your pay, Ren Pengfei. Who did you send this letter to? The dean slammed the table angrily, scaring Ren Pengfei. Then, Ren Pengfei noticed the gazes around him. When he met Lu Yuanxi's eyes, he was stunned. Why was Lu Yuanxi here? But soon, Ren Pengfei stopped thinking about this question. He glanced around and did not expect to meet Qin Yu's cold eyes. They were filled with a strong hostility and danger. Ren Pengfei's legs almost turned to jelly. Why was Qin Yu here too? Besides, he was looking at him with such a terrifying gaze. Ren Pengfei, do you think this letter was from Bai Yunj or Ziyue? I said immediately. Hearing this, Ren Pengfei immediately understood what was going on. He looked at Bai Yunj maliciously and was surprised. It turned out that Bai Yunj was so beautiful. He had heard people talking about her a while ago and thought it was nonsense. In the past, before he transferred schools, he had confessed to Bai Yunj because he lost a bet. However, he didn't expect an extremely ugly girl to reject him. Therefore, he taught Bai Yunj a lesson. However, he didn't expect them to meet again. It was really fate. Bai Yunj, Ren Pengfei. The form teacher interrupted sternly. Even he was afraid of Qin Yu's gaze now. After being yelled at, Ren Pengfei had no choice but to restrain himself. However, his heart was itching, and his gaze drifted to Bai Yunj. He cleared his throat, rolled his eyes, and laughed. Director, if you want to blame someone, blame me. Don't blame Bai Yunj. After saying this, Xie Ziyue and I heaved a sigh of relief. Ren Pengfei looked at Bai Yunj, who was staring at him with a faint smile on her face. She looked beautiful and seductive, and his heart softened. If this matter gets out of hand, I'm also willing to take responsibility. His voice did not stop. Qin Yu had already walked forward, grabbed Ren Pengfei's collar and punched him ruthlessly. In an instant, screams could be heard. I think you're tired of living. His tone was cold. Qin Yu exuded a dangerous aura from head to toe. His handsome and arrogant eyes were filled with coldness. A strand of loose short hair fell in front of his forehead, making him look refined and wolfish. Mr. Qin. The form teacher's eyes widened. She never thought that Qin Yu would really do something in school. He was King calling his parents to solve the problem, not to find trouble. Mr. Qin, control yourself and calm down. This is a school. You have to pay attention to your image. The dean also felt a chill run down his spine. He did not dare to go forward and could only persuade him from the side. However, Qin Yu only looked down at Ren Pengfei. Get up and talk to me properly. P.S. Be good. Maintain your top 10 ranking. Update 5 to 6 p.m. Chapter 173. Ren Pengfei did not expect Qin Yu to hit him in public. His heart was filled with fear. At this moment, the eyes of the person who was secretly leaning against the door widened. Qin Yu actually hit someone for Bai Yunj. Wasn't this brother too godly? *CK, what kind of godly brother did Bai Yunj get? Qin Yu actually hit Ren Pengfei for Bai Yunj just now. With such a brother, what is Bai Yunj thinking? Does she like Ren Pengfei? Qin Yu is really unlucky to have Bai Yunj. Compared to Qin Youjiao, Bai Yunj is useless. Someone could not help but mock. The discussion at the door did not stop. At this moment, a chuckle was especially eye-catching in the quiet office. Bai Yunj walked in front of Ren Pengfei and smirked. Don't you think you're very stupid for being so reckless? You! Ren Pengfei felt inexplicably flustered under Bai Yunj's gaze. However, after regaining his senses, he said maliciously. Bei Yunj, are you afraid because you don't dare to admit it? Bei Yunj could not be bothered to look up. We've known each other since year 1. Oh, so you still dare to admit it? Ren Pengfei was also scheming in his heart. Now that Bei Yunj was the young lady of the Qin family, her status had risen. If he could make the Qin family acknowledge his relationship with Bei Yunj, then he would be considered to have climbed up the ranks of a wealthy family. A strange glint flashed past Ren Pengfei's eyes. However, in the eyes of Xie Ziyue, her expression darkened and her hands clenched into fists. Ever since I transferred to Class 7, you can't take your eyes off me. Bei Yunj suddenly repeated what he had said in the letter slowly. She smirked. Really? The moment she finished speaking. Ren Pengfei's expression froze and a trace of panic flashed past his eyes. Although we used to be schoolmates, we didn't know each other. I only noticed you after you transferred to another school. Ren Pengfei was still feeling smug, thinking that his words were watertight, but when Xie Ziyue and Aya heard this, their faces turned pale. I see. Bei Yunj laughed ambiguously and glanced at the dean calmly. Dean, did you hear that clearly? After the dean regained his senses, his expression turned ugly. Xie Ziyue, Ren Pengfei, are the three of you treating me like a monkey? Just now, these two people had said that Bei Yunj was pursuing Ren Pengfei. In Ren Pengfei's words, he and Bei Yunj had become strangers again before she transferred schools. After Ren Pengfei was yelled at, he was still at a loss. Aya panicked. Director, this. Ren Pengfei said it himself. Do you have proof? Suddenly, Lu Yuanxi sneered. Aya panicked. Suddenly, Xie Ziyue said calmly, Director, even if there are different versions of this matter, it doesn't mean that Bei Yunj was wrongly accused. The dean's face darkened as he glanced at Xie Ziyue. He still didn't want to believe that a good student would frame someone else. I don't think what Xie Ziyue said. It didn't make sense. Director, it's not time for you to retire yet, right? Bei Yunj asked casually. Hearing this, the dean's face almost twisted. What did she mean? Did she say that he was senile? Bei Yunj, as a student, before the dean could finish speaking, the door was suddenly pushed open. But this time, the main reason I'm here is because I can't see my miss being wronged. As soon as he finished speaking, the dean's expression changed drastically. Even Ren Pengfei and the other two students' faces turned pale. Qin Yu was someone who listened to her explanation just now. However, the moment this person entered, it was obvious that he wanted someone to give him an explanation. Of course. I won't let the student suffer. The dean could only put on a fake smile. Chapter 175. Brother, it's actually not a big deal. Bei Yunj, who had started to cause trouble, never disappointed anyone. He was like a troublemaker who had been spoiled by an incapable ruler. It's mainly because the dean insisted that I'm in a puppy love. Right, Dean? The dean was speechless. Puppy love. Shidu looked up. Bei Yunj looked at Ren Pengfei and said with a smile, Student Ren. At this moment, when he heard Bei Yunj calling him, Ren Pengfei's back turned cold. It's you. The man's gaze was deep and cold. The oppressive feeling landed on Ren Pengfei, making him not dare to breathe loudly. Facing such a strong and dangerous man, Ren Pengfei's legs had long turned weak. But coincidentally. Then, Ren Pengfei's parents rushed over. Pengfei, what's wrong with your face? This is too much. Who dares to touch you? I must make him pay the price. Mrs. Ren rushed over and hugged Ren Pengfei with heartache. Her tone was sharp and angry. Who knew? Then, Qin Yu's voice sounded slowly. It's me. Hearing this, Mrs. Rin felt a sense of familiarity. When she turned around and saw Qin Yu's face clearly, she was stunned. Second young Master Qin. Your son is very bold. He even dares to have designs on my sister. Qin Yu's tone was cold and indifferent. Hearing this, the Rin couple finally understood what was going on. But then, Mrs. Rin forced a smile and said, how can you blame my son for this? Then why doesn't my son mess around with others? Why does he have to mess around with your family? Although Mrs. Rin did not dare to continue, her meaning was obvious. Mrs. Rin had the same thoughts as Rin Pengfei. A smile appeared on her face again, but she did not notice how cold the man's gaze was. Since this has happened and second young Master Qin's sister has suffered, our family will be responsible. Hearing this family's shameless words, Qin Yu laughed in anger. He turned around. Master Du, what do you say about this? Hearing this, the Rin couple turned around and saw a handsome and dignified man calmly flipping the silver lighter in his hand. The crisp sound was accompanied by a sense of coldness. His expression was so dark that it was hard to tell what he was thinking. Yet, he sneered faintly, yes, I have to take responsibility. Master. Master Du. Not long after, Papa Ren, who had always been indifferent, suddenly felt that this address was very familiar. The next moment, Tsing Su walked in from the door and said respectfully with a smile, Master Du, the Ren family's business partners for the past few years have been tabulated. Do you need the Huo Corporation to release the news to those partners now? Huo Corporation, Papa Ren quivered and immediately reacted. His back started to break out in cold sweat. Was it the Huo Corporation? How could it be the Huo Corporation? Didn't Fei only offend the Qin clan? Originally, along the way, he thought that perhaps he could spread the news to let the outside world know that there was an undeniable relationship between the daughter of the Qin family and the successor of the Ren family. This way, a bad thing would become a good thing, and the Ren family would be pulled up as well. Let the Qin family suffer in silence. But now, why was the Huo Corporation here? Who had the guts to make the Huo Corporation suffer in silence? Master Du, it's the child who doesn't know any better. Please don't be angry. Papa Ren's scalp turned numb when he thought of the Huo Corporation's methods. Then, Chapter 176. At this moment, Ren Pengfei, who had been slapped by his father, was completely stunned. He covered his cheek and felt that there was blood in his mouth. He could not speak clearly. Dad, why did you hit me? Who asked you to do such a bastard thing? Bastard, I'll beat you to death today. Father Ren's face was gloomy and distorted. He kicked Ren Pengfei fiercely. The people around them were shocked when they heard the muffled sound. Especially Xie Ziyue. She looked flustered. She did not expect that the man beside Bei Yunj would make the Ren family not dare to make a sound. Why did you hit Fei? Mother Ren widened her eyes and reached out to pull Father Ren back. However, she did not expect Father Ren to shake her off ruthlessly and push her to the ground. He said viciously, if it weren't for you, B*TCH, doting on him, would he be so lawless? If you dare to stop me again, be prepared to divorce me. Take this good-for-nothing thing and scram. Perhaps because she had never made Father Ren so angry before, Mother Ren was afraid and aggrieved. He was just a child from another family, and he actually treated his own son like this. However, at this moment, when Huoshidu saw this scene, his eyes were calm. He only lowered his eyes and covered Bei Yunj's eyes with his slender and well-defined hand. Bei Yunj's vision was pitch black. She could only turn her head and raise her head in Huoshidu's direction. I can't look. Yes. Huishidu's low and magnetic voice flowed out from the tip of his sexy throat. Bei Yunj was not interested in the scene of domestic violence. After turning her head, she stood patiently beside the man. When Lu Yuanxi saw this scene not far away, his eyes darkened subconsciously. This was the first time he saw Bei Yunj showing weakness to someone. It was also the first time he saw her being so obedient to someone. After about 20 minutes, Huishidu spoke indifferently. President Ren, it's better to restrain yourself in school. The form teacher's eyelids twitched. Why didn't you say that just now? Initially, Father Ren kept glancing at Huishidu several times, hoping to hear Huishidu stop. Now that everyone was lying on the ground, unable to stand up, this person finally spoke. This bastard only knows how to cause trouble for me. Master Du, I'm really sorry. I really didn't think that he would do such a thing. Papa Ren's words sounded as if this was Ren Pengfei's first time committing a crime. Then, he said flatteringly, Master Du, don't worry. In order not to make Miss unhappy, I will immediately complete the transfer procedures. Huishidu put down his hand that was covering Bei Yunj's eyes. As a parent, I don't want any stain on my daughter's reputation. After Huishidu finished speaking, his cold gaze glanced at the dying Ren Pengfei on the ground. It was obvious that Huishidu was referring to him. Ren Pengfei trembled when he sensed Huishidu's gaze. He pointed at Xie Yue and said in a trembling voice, Father, I've never been in a relationship with Bei Yunj. My girlfriend is Xie Yue. Really, believe me. What? You idiot, why didn't you say so earlier? Papa Ren widened his eyes. Ren Pengfei was at a loss for words. Mama Ren's heart instantly ached and she turned to look at Xie Yue ferociously. She went up to Xie Yue and slapped her, as if venting her anger. Little vixen. How dare you seduce my son? Chapter 177. Xie Yue's head was buzzing from the slap. At the same time, she was frightened by Mama Ren's fierce aura and pushed back in fear. I didn't, not yet. Mama Ren grabbed Xie Yue's hair and slapped her left and right as if she was venting her anger. Was it your idea, you little vixen? If you didn't instigate him, would my son have done such a thing? Now that she knew that the man beside Bei Yunj could not be provoked, Mama Ren only dared to bow to him and step on him. Fortunately. Not long after, the form teacher went up and pulled her back. Her face was accidentally scratched by Mama Ren. As for Xie Yue, her originally fair and clean face was already red and swollen. Her wounds were bleeding, and her crying appearance was even more tragic. Seeing this situation, Bei Yunj's eyes were cold. She only glanced over indifferently. Master Du, look at this. Papa Ren's face was still full of smiles as he nodded and bowed. Actually, it's just a misunderstanding. After I transfer the child to another school, he won't be an eyesore to Miss anymore. What do you think? There's no need to transfer schools. Huishidu put the silver lighter back into his trouser pocket. Our Yunyun is very noisy, but she's still a girl. The man took a wet wipe from the coffee table and held Bei Yunj's hand. He slowly wiped her palm clean, gentle and indulgent. Since the Ren family also has business in other cities, it's not bad to develop in other cities. As soon as he finished speaking, Papa Ren's expression changed. Master Du, their Ren family had relied on Yunchang's rapid development and good opportunities to develop quickly. However, if they were to go to other places, it would be difficult for the Ren family to advance. President Ren, there are consequences for everything you do. Huishidu's thin eyelids did not move. His noble and handsome eyes were still unreasonable. As for your son, this is just a conflict between children. It won't affect the relationship in the industry. After sending him abroad for 6 to 7 years, he will learn to be obedient. As soon as he finished speaking, Papa Ren's pupils constricted violently and his face turned ashen. Mama Ren almost fainted when she heard this. Huashidu's words sounded like he did not intend to fuss over it. However, the underlying meaning was clearly telling Papa Ren that if the Ren family did not follow his instructions, then it would no longer be a conflict between children. It would affect the Ren family's lifeline. After Papa Ren left, Bei Yunj also returned to the classroom. Qinyu thought for a moment and his eyes landed on Huashidu. Master Du, when did you have such a good relationship with my Gu-er? Those who did not know would think that Huashidu was his Gu-er's biological brother. At the thought of Bei Yunj calling Huashidu brother sweetly when she saw him, Qinyu almost felt jealous. Didn't you ask me to take care of her? The handsome man said casually. Qinyu thought for a moment. He seemed to have told Huashidu this before. However, he did not expect Huashidu to really listen. Brother, you're really something. I'll treat you. I have something to do, so I'll go back to the company first. Before Qinyu could finish speaking with a smile, Huashidu glanced at his watch and left. Qinyu, half an hour later. Sitting in the nanny van, Qinyu saw more than 10 calls from Qinyo Jiao. He sneered. There was only coldness in his eyes. Then, he picked up the phone. Chapter 178. Hearing Qinyo Jiao cry sadly, Qinyu did not waver at all. In fact, impatience even appeared in his arrogant eyes. Are you done? Second brother, I'm the one who grew up with you. Qinyo Jiao hid the unwillingness in her eyes and sat on the bed, her voice only sobbing. I also hope that my Gu-er wasn't adopted wrongly from the start. Qinyu's words made Qinyo Jiao's heart turn cold. All of this belongs to Gu-er. Second brother, you. Qinyo Jiao opened her mouth. I've already found the information of the users who slandered Gu-er on the forum. I'll get someone to send you a copy later. Qinyu snorted softly and gave a faint smile. Mom looked for me recently because of this evidence, right? In that case, Qinyo Jiao, I'll give you a chance. Think about it carefully. Do you plan to reveal your true identity or this evidence? Choose one of the two. In an instant, Qinyo Jiao shuddered all over. No matter which one she chose, she would become a laughing stock in the end. Second brother, I don't want to. I don't want to choose. Second brother, I know I was wrong. Qinyo Jiao, you don't have the right to call me that. Qinyu's tone was full of mockery. Okay, I don't want to talk nonsense with you. I hope the answer to choosing one of the two today will appear. Qinyu's lips curled up. Of course, it's impossible to not announce that you're the fake young lady of our Qin family. I'll make you leave the Qin family. If he didn't know Mrs. Qin's temper, she might have done something to Bei Yunj because of Qinyo Jiao. He wouldn't let Qinyo Jiao jump around until today. But no matter what, Qinyo Jiao was a scourge. He had to throw this time bomb out of the Qin family as soon as possible. Qinyu fell into deep thought. The entire morning. The news of Ren Pengfei being taken away on an ambulance and Bei Yunj's 2 older brothers arriving had spread throughout the school. F***CK, Qinyu is really handsome. My legs almost turned to jelly. What? I heard that Bei Yunj has an older brother who's even more handsome than Qinyu. Could this be Bei Yunj's older brother? I don't know. These people only know how to make wild guesses, and no one dares to ask. At this moment, Lu Yuanci, who heard the discussion in the classroom, frowned. He turned around and looked at Bei Yunj. Is that really your brother? Who? Bei Yunj asked slowly. That Mr. Hua. Lu Yuanci was upset. Bei Yunji's eyes curved when she heard this. She said lazily, "Yeah, isn't my brother very eye-catching?" Lu Yuanxi's eyelids twitched. "Just, I hope our deskmate relationship won't be ruined by your tacky taste." Bei Yunji smiled. Not to mention Lu Yuanxi, even Chu Zhixing could feel Bei Yunji's protectiveness. He's Master Pei's brother. Of course, I can't be picky. Chu Zhixing praised him very sensibly. Hearing this, Bei Yunji looked at Chu Zhixing with admiration. Then, she handed a paper bag to Chu Zhixing. "Take this back and open it." "What is this?" Chu Zhixing was stunned. People with good taste will always have unexpected surprises. Bei Yunji chuckled lazily. Lu Yuanxi, who seemed to have been mocked and isolated, was speechless. Chu Zhixing froze for a moment and touched the packaging in the paper bag instinctively. He felt that this logo was very familiar. Chapter 179. Impossible. I must have seen it somewhere before. Chu Zhixing scratched his head and thought about the English letters on the logo. After a while, Chu Zhixing's body suddenly trembled, and the pen in his hand fell. Wait a minute. This was the universal logo of Country R's Medical Research Institute. Previously, it wasn't that his father hadn't thought about asking for help from these famous research institutes in the medical field. However, the conditions of these research institutes had always been harsh. They had to go through layers of reviews before they could get a chance. As for Chu Zhixing, he was rejected at the first review. After coming back to his senses, Chu Zhixing quickly took out the paper bag. After confirming it again, a stormy sea of emotions surged in his heart. It was really the logo of Country R's Medical Research Institute. Chu Zhixing looked at Bei Yunji in disbelief. "Master Pei, where did you get this?" "A friend gave it to me." Chu Zhixing, who almost fell off his chair, was speechless. A friend from Country R's Medical Research Institute. Chu Zhixing felt that his understanding was shattered once again. Back then, he was very clear that Bei Yunji might have been the one who manipulated the headlines in Tieba. However, he pretended not to know to avoid causing trouble for Bei Yunji. But now, Chu Zhixing was completely dumbfounded. He had never thought that Bei Yunji would actually know the people from Country R's Medical Research Institute. They were a group of immortals. Bei Yunji suddenly said, "Don't use the previous ones." Stephen had said that the side effects of those old drugs were very big. Causing Chu Zhixing to become fat was only one of the side effects. Coincidentally, the new potions she brought were newly developed by Stephen. After using this drug for 2 to 3 months, Chu Zhixing's condition would improve without any side effects. At the same time, Bei Yunji's words stunned Chu Zhixing. Then, when he remembered that Bei Yunji had taken his injection some time ago, he immediately understood. Chu Zhixing's nose inexplicably turned sour. "Thank you." He raised his head, his black eyes shining. "Master Pei, I will definitely catch up with your footsteps and not embarrass you." One day, he would also be able to help Master Pei. Lu Yuanxi, who was writing a self-reflection, stopped. Has Fatty Chu gone mad? Chu Zhixing, although you're biased, you're still above average. Do you need to chase after my deskmate? Lu Yuanxi even suspected that Bei Yunji had given Chu Zhixing some kind of bewitching potion. This fanboy state of worshipping a big shot was simply frightening. Who knew? Chu Zhixing turned his head and coldly looked at Lu Yuanxi with a look that said, "You know nothing about power." Lu Yuanxi, very good, he's really crazy. At the hospital. When Mrs. Qin went to buy food, Qin Youjiao took out her phone. Her eyes were dark and her pretty face was a little distorted. Her expression was full of resentment and unwillingness. She couldn't help but grit her teeth. Since Chin Yu asked her to choose, she had no choice. Otherwise, she was also afraid that Chin Yu would do something to ruin her life. After all, the current Chin Yu was too unfamiliar. Bei Yunj, I won't let you off. Chin Yojiao bit her lower lip, and after a while, she still wrote a post. 10 minutes later. The internet was bustling again. Many people reposted and commented on Chin Yojiao's post crazily. They didn't expect the drama of a wealthy family to be so exciting. Chin Yojiao, this time, I have to stand up and admit it. First of all, I'm sorry that I let everyone down. Chapter 180. In the school forum, I exposed the post about Sister Yunj because I didn't want Sister Yunj to go home. I'm really sorry for letting down everyone's trust and liking. At the same time, I want to apologize to Sister Yunj solemnly. I'm sorry, Sister Yunj. The picture Chin Yojiao posted was a handwritten apology letter, which seemed very sincere. In the comments section, there was another heated discussion. No way, no way. Chin Yojiao actually did such a thing. Is she afraid of threatening her position in the Chin family? Let's not talk about the past. The future is promising. Jiao Jiao is very good. She took the initiative to admit her mistake, hug Jiao Jiao. You can't do this again, pitiful. I still think that Bei Yunj has something to do with Chin Yojiao being able to do such a thing. She made Chin Yojiao self-destruct so quickly. Bei Yunj is really capable. I'm a student of Hingda High School. I'm also very shocked that the person who posted this is Chin Yojiao. But isn't it true that Bei Yunj sucked the blood of the Chin family? Soon. Chin Yojiao's fans started to control the comments and the public opinion gradually reversed. Bei Yunj took her grandmother to the best restaurant in Yuncheng for a meal. I wonder whose money she took to be filial. Grin, I don't want to say anything else, but Chin Yojiao is still in the hospital. Can't Bei Yunj be a human? Must she force her to her death? Oh my god, Bei Yunj is indeed not a simple character to be able to return to the Chin family. The once doted young lady of the Chin family is now being forced to such a state. Pitiful, I only realize now that it's really good to be a public figure. There are fans who control the comments. The one who was apologized to even has to be scolded. Grinned, because Chin Yojiao had many die-hard fans, the comments section was soon filled with fan control comments. Even those sarcastic comments about Bei Yunj were deliberately liked by the fans and became trending. And Bei Yunj was even compared to Chin Yojiao. Even director Lin, who was photographed by a student last time, became a cold and greedy leech in the words of fans and righteous passers-by. After scrolling through these comments, Chin Yojiao heaved a sigh of relief and gradually felt smug. Although this incident had caused a small number of fans to leave, and there were even more haters. But it was worth it to trample Bei Yunj to this extent. However, half an hour later. Backstage. Brother Yu, Chin Yojiao, whom you asked me to keep an eye on, has already posted something. The assistant handed Chin Yu a bottle of water and passed him the phone. Hearing this, a mocking look appeared in Chin Yu's eyes. It seemed like this Chin Yojiao knew how to make a choice. However, after Chin Yu scrolled through a few comments, his handsome face gradually darkened. The smile on Chin Yu's lips was cold. She really knows how to gain sympathy. Most of the comment section was actually scolding Bei Yunj. He reprimanded Bei Yunj for sucking the blood of the Chin family. His words were extreme. Brother Yu, did you quarrel with Miss Chin? The assistant asked cautiously. It was his first time seeing Chin Yu treat Chin Yojiao like this. Besides, it was for that new younger sister, who had never appeared before. Chin Yu snorted and threw the mineral water bottle to the assistant. Don't mention her to me. Then, Chin Yu sat down. Before the assistant could ask again, he saw that he was editing a post. Brother you. The assistant's eyes widened in disbelief. Chapter 181. If it was really just siblings throwing a tantrum, Chin-yu wouldn't have done such a thing. It was obvious that they had broken up. The assistant was dumbfounded. However, even if Chin-yu did something that might affect his reputation, he didn't dare to interfere. After all, this person was Chin-yu. Soon, the internet exploded again. Everyone saw that Chin-yu had posted a post personally. Chin-yu, in the past 17 years, the kindness of raising me is greater than the heavens. As her elder brother, I owe Director Lin a thank you. Director Lin taught me very well and she has always been beautiful. Love and brightness, kindness will last forever. The picture was a photo of Chin-yu and the old lady taken a few days ago. The moment this post was posted, everyone thought of Chin-yu Zhao's post. Wasn't Chin-yu obviously responding to Chin-yu Zhao? This slap to the face was too ruthless. Not only did he tear apart those self-righteous fans who called the old lady a bloodsucker, he even tore apart Chin-yu Zhao. Every word was saying that Chin-yu Zhao had no moral bottom line. As expected of the best actor, he never showed mercy when tearing people apart. Soon, the comments section was occupied by fans of various families. Let me take a look. Let me take a look. F***CK, is brother you domineeringly protecting his sister? Sob, my husband's photo is so good. No way, no way, no way. The two sisters are tearing each other apart and Chin-yu is standing on their side. No wonder Zhao Zhao's condition hasn't been good recently. Can the Chin family be fair? Goodbye, the Zhao fan above, is there something wrong with your brain? Your main character isn't even saying anything about the old lady and you're not letting my brother you say anything. What's the matter? Are you planning to tear us apart? Sure, we don't mind either. We can help your main character raise his status. The moment Chin-yu's fans came up, Chin-yu Zhao's fans were terrified. After all, who didn't know the fighting power of Chin-yu's fans? Usually, almost no one in the industry dared to provoke this group of sisters. However, it didn't take long for strange comments to appear. Why does this old lady look so familiar? The person above, there's no need for that. She's the director of the orphanage. How, do you know her? F***CK, Bei Yunj used to live in an orphanage. No wonder. It's a fact that it's difficult to catch up to Chin-yu Zhao due to the lack of congenital conditions. Master laughed. The moment Chin-yu spoke, Bei Yunj gained so many fans who adore her. No matter what Chin-yu thinks, aren't this old lady and this new Miss Chin just greedy for the Chin family's money? Soon, this comment was liked and placed in the top 3 trending topics. Following that, many of Chin-yu Zhao's fans began to feel aggrieved. Sigh, it's so hard to chase after celebrities. As long as I'm Chin-yu Zhao's fan, I can't speak the truth. Our Zhao Zhao is just a flower of wealth. She can't compare to other people in terms of social experience. I heard that orphanages are quite messy, upstairs, that's right. You can't imagine the dark side of children who come from an orphanage. At this moment, many of Chin-yu Zhao's fans seized the opportunity to start a conspiracy theory. He even implied that Bei Yunj was not the daughter of the Chin family and that everything was a lie. But who would have thought that in the next moment, a pornographic account would make a statement? F***CK. It's really Dean Lin. Chin-yu Zhao's fans, can you wake up? Don't offend someone you shouldn't. Chapter 182. Awesome, so the director of the orphanage has such a background too. I'll give Bei Yunj a like, I'm dying of laughter. Someone you can't offend. You're so amazing. You know more than everyone, at this moment. The account was so angry that he laughed. However, not long after, he sent another reply. Indeed, Zhao fans are all primary school students. Search for Lin Longjun online. Don't act like a retard all day long. Seeing this comment, many of Qin Yo Zhao's fans were angry, but they still searched for that name. Soon, a Baidu encyclopedia appeared. Lin Longjun, PhD in biology, former director of Yunqing University's Faculty of Biology, and an academician of the Academy of Sciences. Winner of the 48th Janes Biology Award, specializing in molecular biology and systems biology. He is now retired. Everyone. What the hell? Were they dreaming? These honors felt like a big shot that they had to memorize in their high school textbooks had suddenly appeared in the entertainment industry. Did they break through the dimension? F***CK. The former director of my alma mater. I worship Director Lin. Ah, my idol. I'm crying. It's really Director Lin. The pioneer of biology in the country. I was caught by my roommate and asked me to come and see my idol. I didn't expect it to be Director Lin. Director Lin is my motivation to get into Yunqing University. She's also the person I'm most proud of in my youth. Wait a minute, are there any requirements to register for the orphanage? I think my son is quite suitable too. Oh, Bei Yunj has made a killing. Who doesn't want to be doted on by Director Lin? Director Lin was famous for her good temper back then. Not long after, the comments below Qin Yu exploded. A few hours later, some big shots in the scientific research field who obviously did not use social media registered personal accounts and reposted this post. Everyone looked at these credentials. The principal of Yunqing University, the dean of biology of Yunqing University, the founder of the Tsinghua Research Institute. One by one, the big shots who could let them memorize hundreds of words more in high school came out and reposted to support their old friends. This was a famous scene in the scientific research field. What was even more eye-catching was that the official account of Yunqing University, the highest university in the country, directly reposted and commented on Qin Yu's post. Yunqing University, Dean Lin donated all the patent fees back then to support the public welfare of the abducted children. You will always be the Director Lin that we are proud of, // Yu. The moment the post was forwarded, Qin Yo Zhao's fans fell silent. However, no one had forgotten the comments about Bei Yunj and Director Lin. I'm going to cry. Director Lin is such a good person. She went to open an orphanage in her later years and insisted on doing good deeds. Yet, she still has to be humiliated like this. Goodbye, I've turned from a fan to a hater. Disgusting. This time, it was your main character who admitted that he had slandered Director Lin. Smile, I'm dying of laughter. Ha 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 ha, Yunqing University unfollowed Qin Yo Zhao. That's too protective. That's right. All of Qin Yo Zhao's fans in Yun University have automatically stopped being her fans. Who isn't Dean Lin and Du Wei? The daughter that Principal Lin raised is my daughter too. Oh no, it's my collection. No wonder I haven't seen Bei Yunj's movements. The child raised by Director Lin is so low-key. Right now, all of Qin Yo Zhao's fans were panicking. No one had expected such a reversal. Chapter 183. The director of the orphanage that raised Bei Yunj was actually a famous researcher. Is this world a fantasy? Because of the sudden exposure of Director Lin's identity, the public's attitude towards Bei Yunj had changed drastically. In the past, when you said that you were envious of Qin Yo Zhao, I really couldn't get it. But now, I'm really envious of Bei Yunj. Not to mention her brother. Can a researcher grandmother that appears in high school textbooks be more amazing? The photos that were posted on the forum don't seem to show Director Lin's face. It feels like Bae Yunj is blocking it on purpose. This is too heartwarming. Director Lin has helped the Chin family raise their daughter for 17 years. What's wrong with Bae Yunj bringing Director Lin out for a meal? Do all of you think that benefits are more important than raising her? A certain fan should come out and jump in. Why are you acting like cowards? Qin Yojiao, come out and apologize to Director Lin. Grin, at night. Qin Yojiao was still watching a drama. Not long after, Mrs. Qin pushed the door open and entered, her expression dark. Jiao Jiao, what did you post online? Qin Yojiao panicked immediately, thinking that Mrs. Qin also felt that she had gone overboard. Mom. I'm sorry. She bit her lip, her eyes red. I did something wrong. Can you forgive me? Hearing this, Mrs. Qin was angry and heartbroken. Jiao Jiao, are you stupid? Look at the headlines now. Headlines? Qin Yojiao was stunned. Weren't they all scolding Bae Yunj and that old Madam Lin? Qin Yojiao unconsciously opened the message and what entered her eyes was an unprecedented large number of private messages and comments. This made Qin Yojiao's heart tremble and she had a bad feeling. Then, Qin Yojiao clicked on it and after reading the first dozen or so comments, her face paled. How did this happen? The internet was filled with comments scolding and reprimanding her. And that ordinary-looking old lady was actually the former director of Yunqing University. And she had received so many honors. How was this possible? Qin Yojiao's expression was dazed as her face gradually turned green and red. Mom, Qin Yojiao couldn't help crying and started to feel helpless. I really didn't know. She's the dean of Yunqing University. Yunqing University had always been her dream school. But now, could she still get into Yunqing University? Mother Qin's expression didn't look too good either. She didn't expect that the seemingly submissive old lady was actually such a character. She took a deep breath and said, Jiao Jiao, when your leg is better, I'll take you to apologize to Director Lin. You must get her forgiveness. Mrs. Qin also regretted treating Director Lin like that back then. If she had known about Principal Lin's identity earlier, she would have definitely treated Principal Lin well. Perhaps, he could even get Director Lin to bring some resources to Jiao Jiao. But can Principal Lin forgive me? Qin Yojiao's eyes were filled with resentment and unwillingness. What right did Bae Yunj have to take all the good things? Even if Bae Yunj was swapped, how could she be adopted by Director Lin? Now that Bae Yunj was back, even second brother and third brother only treated Bae Yunj as their younger sister. At this moment, Mrs. Qin looked at Qin Yojiao, her heart feeling very complicated. She didn't expect Qin Yojiao to do such a thing. Seeing Mrs. Qin sigh, Qin Yojiao hurriedly grabbed Mrs. Qin's hand. She hated Bae Yunj to the core, but she cried and said with a trembling voice. Mom, I'm really afraid that she'll snatch you away. Chapter 184. Feeling helpless and heartbroken, Mrs. Qin could only caress Qin Yojiao's head. She could not bear to see Qin Yojiao being scolded like this. Don't do such a thing in the future. Mom will find someone to settle it for you. Backstage. Qin Yu read the public opinion and calmed down the shock in his heart before he started to play games. Then, suddenly, Qin Yu heard a phone notification. When he left the game and opened his personal message, he found that he had entered a mysterious and strange organization. What is it? Qin Yu opened the group chat in confusion. However, when he saw the group members' identities, the phone he was holding almost shook. The former and current principal of Yunqing University, the Dean of Science, and the current Dean of Biology. In addition, there were several famous professors. Even Qin Yu recognized them. One of the professors seemed to have won a world award some time ago. Dean of Biology of Yunqing University, do you have a personal account for your daughter? Qin Yu, former principal of Yunqing University, Qin Yu, little Qin, if you have the chance, let your daughter come to my house to play. Seeing these messages, Qin Yu felt like he had entered a world that did not fit in. These were all big shots in the scientific research field. Qin Yu was shocked for a long time as he watched this group of immortals continue chatting. Professor Yu Guang, haha, you're already so old and you're still thinking about Lan Jun. Principal of Yunqing University, former principal of Yunqing University, why do you care? Former principal of Yunqing University, Dean of Biology of Yunqing University, find a chance to get Lan Jun's daughter to enroll in our school. Seeing this message, Qin Yu thought of his goop-er's results and his eyelids twitched. He did not notice that another big shot had entered the group. Institute, Zhong Xinglin, why didn't Lan Jun tell me? Where did she find this child? After Zhong Xinglin found out that Bai Yunj was actually raised by his old acquaintance, he felt even more jealous. Why didn't he encounter such a good thing? Why couldn't he find an heir? Former principal of Yunqing University, old Zhong, don't wander around the edge of the law because you don't have a successor, okay? Institute, Zhong Xinglin, the nature of the crime of picking up a child and kidnapping children was the same. Institute, Zhong Xinglin, at this moment. Qin Yu had just regained his senses when he saw the new member's name card and almost stood up. Zhong Xinglin. Anyone who surfed the internet would know of this old master Zhong. This was Director Lin's friend too. Qin Yu suppressed the shock and complexity in his heart. In the end, he took a deep breath and replied. Qin Yu, doesn't have a personal account, principal of Yunqing University, it's fine. Your daughter is going to college soon, right? Have you decided which department you want to enter? Qin Yu, he probably wouldn't be able to get into any of the faculties. Just as Qin Yu was chatting awkwardly with the big shots, Bai Yunj was preparing the information she would bring to A.M. tomorrow. He didn't care about what was happening on the internet at all. However, at this time, Marcus called. What happened? Bai Yunj leaned back in her chair and wiped her wet hair lazily. I heard from Zhong Xinglin that something happened to you online again. Don't tell me you called me specially because of this. Bai Yunj's eyes relaxed and she looked charming. Seeing that Bai Yunj ignored the comments online, Marcus heaved a sigh of relief. He said, no, I'm looking for you this time mainly because of the Qin family. Chapter 185. About the Qin family. Bai Yunj's eyes were calm and he could not tell from her tone. Your brother seems to have been looking for professionals in the computing field to work with. Besides us, he has also contacted other computing institutes and professional platforms. Hearing this, a trace of thought flashed past Bai Yunj's eyes. She did not know much about her brother, Qin Luyan. However, she remembered that the reason for the Qin family's bankruptcy seemed to be related to the company's data leak. For the company's data to be leaked, apart from being bribed, it could also be done maliciously by technicians. If it was the latter, then this was the same as the anti-fan who harmed old Master Qin back then. What conditions did he offer you? Bai Yunj asked. Marcus smiled. Everyone is well aware of what kind of conditions the rich will offer. This is nothing more than the hiring fee. However, Yunj, that's your brother. If it's for your sake, of course there's no problem. If it was before, Marcus would definitely have accepted it secretly and then told Bai Yunj to gain her favor. However, some time ago, he heard from that old fellow Zhong Xinglin about the Qin family and Bai Yunj and no longer had a good impression of the Qin family. What was wrong with them? They did not want a daughter who could bring the Qin family to the top and insisted on treating that Qin Yojiao as a treasure. Did this family use their IQ to exchange for looks? just as expected. After a while, Bei Yunj tapped the table carelessly with her fingertips. There's no need. In the original novel, the Qin family's bankruptcy was done by an heiress who was crazily pursuing the eldest young master of the Qin family, Qin Lian. Later, this heiress even became Qin Youjiao's good friend. So, for the time being, she could not interfere in this matter. She had to lure the snake out of its hole first. Although she did not want to have anything to do with the Qin family, she would help the original protagonist achieve her long-cherished wish after inheriting the original protagonist's body, including solving the Qin family's crisis for the original protagonist. Yunj, do you really hate them a lot? Marcus hesitated for a moment before asking. Marcus, do you think I can't solve this matter? Bei Yunj was all smiles. Hearing this, Marcus was instantly enlightened. That's right. Did the Qin family need to go outside and beg for help? Didn't he have an immortal at home? Alright, then we won't get involved in this matter. After reporting this, Marcus hung up the phone. At this moment, Bei Yunj received a message from Qin Lian almost at the same time. You're going back soon. Do you want any gifts? Bei Yunj glanced at it and frowned. She thought that Qin Lian had sent it to the wrong person, so she turned around and went to the bathroom to dry her hair. But at the same time, Qin Lian, who was far away in country R, waited for a few hours but did not receive a reply from his sister. The next day, after Bei Yunj went downstairs, she rubbed her furry head and asked in a nasal voice, Auntie Meow, where is my brother? Mr. Huo went out. I've prepared breakfast for you, miss, Auntie Meow said with a smile. Thank you, Aunt Meow. After Bei Yunj sat down, the worry in Aunt Meow's eyes gradually disappeared. Miss, I have something to tell you. Hearing this, Bei Yunj looked up instinctively. What is it? Mr. Huo went out with President Yu today. Auntie Meow frowned. President Yu doesn't have any good habits. He changes his girlfriend like clothes. If Mr. Huo went out with him, miss, you have to persuade sir to go home early. Chapter 186. Bei Yunj's hand that was scooping the porridge stopped. He did not quite understand Aunt Meow's anxiousness. Maybe she's going out to relax. Bei Yunj did not wait for Aunt Meow to continue persuading him and pulled her to sit down. Aunt Meow, try it too. It's pretty good. Aunt Meow, after breakfast. Bei Yunj glanced at the identity card that Zhong Xinglin had given him on the table. He casually stuffed it into his pocket and prepared to leave with the documents. A.M. Institute of Computational Technology. Brat, hurry up and wipe the glass. Why is it so dirty? It affects the aesthetics, do you know that? Zhong Xinglin suddenly slammed the young man's table, giving him a fright. What was wrong with this old man? Back then, when the higher-ups came over, he was so focused on research that he couldn't even be bothered to open the door for them. He left the leaders at the door for more than an hour. Now, he actually wanted him to wipe the glass. The young man thought for a moment and frowned again. No way, old master. There are only a few interns today. Do you have to mobilize so many people? He was a senior after all. Just because a few interns came over, he had to personally wipe the glass. What's wrong? There's a future director among them. Hearing this, Zhong Xinglin's face darkened and he slapped the back of the young man's head. The new member of the Marcus family will be coming today. You'd better be more respectful. Take good care of her and make her feel that the A.M. Institute is the happiest place in the world. The young man had goosebumps when he heard the happiest place in the world. He crossed his arms and looked wary. Old master, don't treat me as a tool just to seduce a big shot, okay? It's fine if it's a girl, but you want me to seduce a man with my beauty? This was a legitimate research institute. What kind of messy happy place was this? Zhong Xinglin endured for a long time and tried his best not to get angry. Then, he put on a fake smile. Do you think she'll like you? The young man. It's a little girl. Don't mess around. When Zhong Xinglin thought about how the person he had been looking for so long was finally under his nose, he became happy. Hurry up and wipe the windows. Also, ask those guys in the station to come over and identify the person in an hour. Little girl. How big is that? The young man's eyes lit up, and his blood boiled. Little girl. The little girl from their computing institute. Wasn't this too happy? You'll know when the time comes. Zhong Xinglin frowned and glanced at the restless young man with disdain. Old master, I actually think it's a good thing to sacrifice for the research institute. If it's possible. The young man changed the topic, but he did not expect to be interrupted by Zhong Xinglin with a smile. He closed his mouth with one hand. No, you can't. Even though the young man's mouth was pinched shut, he still struggled hard and said vaguely, I'm the favorite of the research institute. Other than me, you can seduce anyone, but if you dare to seduce her, those old fellows from Yunqing University will be the first to not let you off. Zhong Xinglin's words made the young man unable to react. He did not expect this new member to have such a strong background. At this moment, Qing Zihuai sat in the car and listened to Qin Youjiao speak. Zihuai, today is your first day in the institute. I'm really sad that I can't send you off. Chapter 187. Qing Zihuai smirked. He was in a good mood because he had finally gotten the only internship spot in Hengda. Recuperate well. I'll visit you when I'm free. At this point, Qing Zihuai could not help but think of Bai Yunj and he frowned. Ever since Bai Yunj returned to the Qin family had been in a mess. She was really here to collect debts. However, he did not expect Bai Yunj to be so lucky to be raised by Director Lin. Seeing that Qing Zihuai's attitude towards her had not changed, Qin Youjiao felt sweet and touched. Then, after being coaxed by Qing Zihuai, she hung up the call in relief. But almost at the same time, Qing Zihuai received another call. It was from Mrs. Qing. Zihuai, why couldn't I get through to you just now? I was calling Jiao Jiao, Qing Zihuai said. Hearing this, Mrs. Qing couldn't stop smiling. You said that you liked Jiao Jiao, but you refused to admit it. Back then, you quarreled with Jiao Jiao and insisted on getting engaged to Bai Yunj. Fortunately, the Qin family didn't take it seriously. Hearing Bai Yunj's name, the smile on Qing Zihuai's face disappeared. Mom. Okay, let's not talk about her. My son is so outstanding, of course he has to find a girl who is worthy of him. Mrs. Qing had always looked down on Bai Yunj and her tone was contemptuous. Zihuai, don't worry. Your father is very happy that you entered AM this time. When you become an official employee, I'll go and talk to Mrs. Qin about your engagement with Jiao Jiao. Qing Zihuai's eyebrows relaxed. Thank you, Mom. Although Bai Yunj was indeed prettier than Jiao Jiao now, his wife was destined to be more than just looks. A person with a notorious record like Bai Yunj had no right to be his wife. After hanging up the call, Qing Zihuai got out of the car and arrived at the entrance of the AM Computing Institute. Unfortunately, the moment he looked up, he saw Bai Yunj walking towards him. Qing Zihuai furrowed his eyebrows and his gaze on Bai Yunj became mocking. He had gotten the only internship spot in Hengda. Wasn't it obvious why Bai Yunj was here? He thought that this woman really didn't care about him anymore. He didn't expect that she would return to her previous self so quickly. Qing Zihuai turned his head coldly. After the security guard checked his internship certificate and let him go, he said, "It's better to prohibit unauthorized people from entering your place, lest they cause trouble." With that, Qing Zihuai left. The security guard turned around and saw Bei Yunj. He immediately understood what Qing Zihuai meant. Soon. When Bei Yunj reached the entrance, the security guard stopped her. "Miss, the station doesn't allow unauthorized people to enter." Bei Yunj's beautiful eyes moved as she saw Qing Zihuai enter the A.M. Computing Institute. Of course, she knew why the security guard stopped her. She lowered her eyes and her red lips curled. Without saying anything, she took out her identity card and swiped it on the machine. Shortly after, before the security guards could stop them, they heard a long beeping sound. Then, the door opened automatically. The security guard's eyes widened when he saw this. Only the professors and directors of the institute had this identity card. What was wrong with this young lady? "Can I go in now?" Bei Yunj looked at him and smiled politely. When the security guard reacted, he hurriedly nodded. "Miss, please." What kind of operation was this? This young lady was a new member of the station. She was too young. After Bei Yunj thanked him, she went straight into the police station. Chapter 188. Bypassing the courtyard, Bei Yunj walked along the long corridor and found the reception room. However, she did not expect to meet a young man cleaning glass on the way. Bei Yunj was speechless. Did the people in the computing institute love life so much? "Hello, uncle. May I know how to get to the reception room?" Hearing this address, the young man's body trembled and his face darkened. He turned around and wanted to curse. However, when he saw Bei Yunj's face clearly, his face was filled with shock. It's you." The young man's heart was in turmoil, but all his doubts were resolved. However, when he regained his senses, he became agitated again. "Why is it you? It's actually you. Are you kidding me?" So, the person who paralyzed the headlines and accurately sent Qin Lang's anti-fans to the police station was Bei Yunj herself. There were no other big shots at all. When the young man thought about how the security system in the hospital that he could not even make was made by Bei Yunj, his heart skipped a beat and he sprained his ankle. His entire body fell out of the window. At this moment, his eyes widened in fear. In the process of falling, he saw Bei Yunj quickly and considerately move the bucket under him away with the tip of her foot. It was not enough to make him drenched. However, the next moment, the young man still screamed and almost lost his life. "Ouch, my waist." The young man's face was distorted from the pain. A few minutes later, the young man regained his senses and looked up to meet Bei Yunj's gaze. The two of them looked at each other and were silent for a long time. The young man said, "Thank you." Bei Yunj said, "You're welcome." One dared to say it, while the other dared to respond. In the long corridor, the young man held his waist and limped with Bei Yunj to look for Zhong Xinglin. "My name is Si Qing Yen. You can call me Brother Yen." Bei Yunj could tell that he had deliberately emphasized the last few words. "Okay, where is Elder Zhong?" "Old Master planned to let you use the Deputy Director's research lab. He probably went to see the layout." Bei Yunj did not expect Zhong Xinglin to care so much about her. She nodded. "Thank you." "You're welcome. Grandpa likes you a lot. You have to know that I only had the privilege of having my own research lab last year." Si Qing Yen looked at her sourly. "If you sign with our agency, I don't know how much he will dote on you. Marcus is also very good to me." Bei Yunj chuckled. Although it hadn't been long since they signed the contract, Marcus did clean up a lot of her messes. With your qualifications, you'll be worshipped like an ancestor no matter where you go, okay? Si Qingyan was indignant. He was only 19 years old. In the future, he would definitely be a rare genius that every country would fight over. Bai Yunj smiled nonchalantly and followed Si Qingyan to another building. But right at this moment, Qing Zihuai, who was passing by, was stopped by a graduate student who had just entered the institute this year. The senior pointed at Si Qingyan excitedly. Did you see that boy? He's not even 30 years old and is a guest professor of computer science at our Yunqing University. When Qing Zihuai heard this, he was about to size up Si Qingyan when he suddenly noticed the figure beside him. His expression changed. Wasn't that Bai Yunj? How did she get into the computing institute? Why are you in a daze? Did you hear what I said? The senior said unhappily. I'll go take a look. Qing Zihuai's face darkened and he wanted to chase after her. But then, he was stopped by the senior. Chapter 189. Are you crazy? Do you want to be chased out? The senior could not help but pat Qing Zihuai and laugh. Brother, those who are not important members of the institute are not qualified to enter that place. Qing Zihuai's mind was in a mess. He took a deep breath and pointed in the direction Bai Yunj had left. Then that girl, huh? What girl? The senior did not notice Bai Yunj and only cared about showing off his connections in front of the new Qing Zihuai. As for Qing Zihuai, he was sure that the person he saw just now was definitely Bai Yunj. He could not be wrong. However, Bai Yunj could not be an important member of the institute. Other than experienced computing talents, A.M.'s entry process would take several years to reach that position. How could Bai Yunj know anything about computers? It's fine. Qing Zihuai took a deep breath and did not continue to dwell on this matter. In the research room. Do you want to consider the new interns for our new project? They all feel good. The plump director smiled apologetically. In the past few years, there were almost no interns left in the institute. Although he was anxious, there was nothing he could do. After all, this was founded by Zhong Xinglin himself. No one could interfere. Consider my foot. Zhong Xinglin rolled his eyes. When he thought about how Marcus could poach someone from Yunqing across the ocean, he was so angry that his lungs hurt. The director was shocked. He did not know why Zhong Xinglin had been so hot-tempered recently. Then this research room. The director asked carefully. It's for someone else, Zhong Xinglin said matter-of-factly. The director continued to ask, not from our institute. I haven't poached her yet. Zhong Xinglin was also a little worried. That girl looked young, but he could not figure out what she was thinking. However, when the director heard this, his eyelids twitched. You didn't manage to poach her, so you let her come to our private research room. Wasn't this too much? Back then, Si Qingyan had hugged Zhong Xinglin's thigh and begged shamelessly for a year before he had a private research room. She's worth it. After Zhong Xinglin said this, he chuckled at the department head. If I don't have any ideas about her and continue to guide those interns, I don't know if I will still have any hope of seeing my juniors win the Busaka Prize before I die. Busaka Prize. The director's expression changed. How could a member of the Foreign Institute be so capable? She's from the Marcus Research Institute. She was the one who proposed the key project of our nation's computing institute this year. Hearing Zhong Xinglin's words, the director's scalp went numb. Since Superintendent Zhong was trying to poach people, wouldn't Marcus fly over from country R to fight with Superintendent Zhong? The new member they are talking about? Zhong Xinglin and Marcus, important members of the Computing Institute, knew each other. If it was an old member, Zhong Xinglin would have already taken action. Yes. Director, it wasn't easy for the other party to sign a big shot, and he was already trying to poach him. Wasn't he afraid of retribution? Then when will she? Before the director could finish his worrisome question, he heard a clear voice. Elder Zhong. In an instant. The director paused and slowly turned his head. His gaze landed on Bai Yunj. Then, his mind exploded. He instantly understood why Zhong Xinglin had spent so much money to poach him. Was this really the person the superintendent wanted to poach? Wasn't she too young? Chapter 190. At this age, she could already aim for the Busaka prize. If it was him, he would also dig her up. Yunj, you're here. Look at this place. Are you satisfied? The moment Zhong Xinglin saw Bai Yunj, his eyes lit up. He was so amiable that Si Qingyan, who was beside him, felt extremely uncomfortable. Ha! Back then, when he had been recruited, this old man had not even treated him like this. Thank you, I like it very much. Bai Yunj scanned the spacious and bright research room. There were all kinds of basic facilities. There was even a projector in front to facilitate the live video conference. It's good that you like it. Then I'll bring you to meet people first. Zhong Xinglin's words made people think that Bai Yunj had already entered their calculations. Okay. Bai Yunj's eyes moved. Indeed. In the next period of time, she would have to come to the institute often. It was time to meet people. Although she also felt that Zhong Xinglin's intentions seemed to be different. In the conference room, Bai Yunj was arranged to sit on the left of Zhong Xinglin. The important members of A.M. had just entered when they noticed the unfamiliar girl and were shocked. What was going on? Didn't they say that they were here to see the big boss that the old master was especially concerned about? What did it mean that a young girl suddenly appeared in their institute? Suddenly. A terrifying conjecture emerged in their minds. No way. The big boss that the inspector liked was this young girl. Sit down, what are you looking at? The head of department raised his orchid fingers and served Bai Yunj a cup of tea. Miss Pei, try it. It's fresh, milk tea. He looked down and realized that Si Qingyan, that bastard, had gotten him a cup of milk tea. The head of department's eyes were burning as he stared straight at Si Qingyan. You're welcome. Si Qingyan raised his glass at Bai Yunj and drank the milk tea in one gulp. He crossed his arms and bit the pearl happily. Bai Yunj took the teacup as her overly beautiful eyes curved lazily. She didn't seem like a difficult person to interact with. Seeing this, the director and director both heaved a sigh of relief. Come, let me introduce you. This is Bai Yunj. She's the little girl I mentioned to everyone before. Zhong Xinglin turned around excitedly. Yunj, introduce yourself. When Bai Yunj heard this, she felt the gazes around her. She was silent for a moment and swallowed the pearl unhurriedly. Hello, everyone. I'm Bai Yunj, a member of Country R's Institute of Computational Technology. As soon as he finished speaking, the atmosphere was cold and awkward. Everyone, oh, he hadn't been poached yet. At the same time, in the meeting room of another building, Qing Zihuai frowned. Didn't you say that we have a meeting at 11? The boy next to him shook his head and whispered into his ear mysteriously. I heard that the professor who is going to give us a speech is having an impromptu meeting. In the next building, the big shots were having a meeting. Do you understand? All of them are immortals. An impromptu meeting at this time. Qing Zihuai pursed his lips. However, as an intern, he had no right to speak. I think a big boss came. The institute values her very much, the boy said nonchalantly. Hearing this, Qing Zihuai's expression softened a little. However, he was also curious about who this person was. Soon, he quickly recalled how he had bumped into Bei Yunj on the way. However, when he regained his senses, he felt that his thoughts were ridiculous. How could Bei Yunj be qualified? Chapter 191. Those who could be valued by A.M. were definitely those who were competing for the top. As for Bei Yunj, she was a brainless person. Now, she was already pampered by the older brothers of the Qin family. In the future, it was hard to say if she would be a prodigal. How could she be involved with a big boss? Qing Zihui snorted. He felt that he might not have rested enough and was starting to let his imagination run wild. Forget it, he would wait a little longer. It was not easy for him to enter the A.M. Computing Institute. In the conference hall of another building, more than 10 members watched expressionlessly as the superintendent and the dean worked together to poach people. "Oh right, Yunj, what's the direction of your project?" Zhong Xinglin asked. "Public key cryptography. I think it'll take another 4 months to complete." The moment Bei Yunj finished speaking, Si Qingyan, who was originally relaxed, could not sit still anymore. Public key cryptography. Si Qingyan suddenly remembered. "You're the one who did Marcus's key project this year." I'm the person in charge." The moment Bei Yunj finished speaking, the other members looked up abruptly. Their faces were filled with shock as they sucked in a breath of cold air. Very few people did research in this direction, so there was not much information in this area. Therefore, it was difficult to produce results. However, as Marcus's new member, Bei Yunj brought along a key project right from the start. Wasn't her intention obvious? She was F*King aiming for the Busaka Prize. Marcus was not a fool. Without full confidence, he would not spend so much effort on Bei Yunj. It was obvious that Marcus had really scooped up a genius from their country this time, and right under their noses. "Then Yunj, are you free to work with our institute too?" The dean hurriedly put on a smile and started to poach her quietly. Bei Yunj was about to speak when her phone suddenly vibrated. She took out her phone and looked down. It was a call from Marcus. The dean was speechless. Did this old fellow have clairvoyance? Why did he call at this time? "Yunj, take it." Zhong Xinglin also saw the note. Then, he smiled generously and leaned back in his chair confidently. In the eyes of the other members, he was probably a dead pig that was not afraid of boiling water. Anyway, he was determined to poach this person. "My apologies." Bei Yunj nodded. At this time, Marcus rarely called. "What's wrong, Marcus?" Bei Yunj asked. Marcus's voice sounded from the other end of the phone. "Your big brother offered us a very high price. Of course, we don't care about this little bit of money. However, you know that we have some platforms here. There will definitely be people who will agree to your big brother's request. I'm afraid that your big brother won't just be deceived." People who were proficient in virtual networks were difficult to control. If Bei Yunj's eldest brother wasn't careful, he might lose his entire family fortune. She wondered what had happened to the Qin family that made Bei Yunj's elder brother so anxious. Marcus pondered. "Okay, I got it." "Then agree to his request first," Bei Yunj said calmly as she hid the emotions in her eyes. "Agree? Don't you want to handle it yourself?" Marcus was stunned. Hearing this, Bei Yunj chuckled. "Am I not a member of the institute?" These words made Zhong Xinglin, who was beside her, feel jealous. Chapter 192. When Marcus heard this, he understood. Suddenly, he said, "Yunj, are you at the A.M. Institute? Bei Yunj glanced at the others. At the same time, the people from the A.M. Computing Institute noticed something strange. Marcus said, Yunj, turn on the speaker and chat with your old friend. Bei Yunj raised an eyebrow and turned on the speaker after asking Zhong Xinglin. Oh, Marcus, why aren't you sleeping in the middle of the night? Don't tell me you're nervous. Zhong Xinglin smiled. Hearing the old master's annoying tone, all the members were speechless. But in the next second, they heard Marcus retort again. Why are you nervous? I'm embarrassed that my Yunj is working at the place you borrowed. Look, I even transferred some funds to you. Thank you for taking care of my Yunj. Marcus continued to be a bitch. I'm relieved to have you guys taking care of her. All the members were speechless. No wonder these two were old classmates. They were both annoying. Because she had an appointment with the intern she was teaching, Bei Yunj returned to the research lab early and had a video conference. As for Tich and Jasmine, although they could not keep up with Bei Yunj's progress, they were still hardworking and learned a lot. Except sometimes, Bei Yunj's silence made them tremble in fear. Until evening. Bei Yunj returned home, only to find the living room empty. Her eyebrows moved as she suddenly remembered what Aunt Meow had said to her. Brother and Yu Hanran had gone out. Bei Yunj glanced at her watch. It was almost 7:30 p.m. After thinking for a moment, she went upstairs to take a shower first. Then, she carried her laptop downstairs and sat on the soft blanket by the coffee table, waiting quietly. Miss Pei, you're back. Aunt Meow walked over from the long corridor with dinner. Bei Yunj nodded. Aunt Meow, did brother say when he will be back? Mr. Hua never tells me this. However, sometimes Mr. Hua and President Yu go out and don't come back. Bei Yunj's fingers paused for a moment before she tapped the table again. Okay, I'll ask her later. Hearing this, Auntie Meow grinned. Alright. I'll bring the soup over first. Miss, please fill your stomach. Yes. After Aunt Meow left, Bei Yunj called Huashidu. But at this moment, Bei Yunj almost thought that she was here to check on her. Not long after. The call went through. Bei Yunj heard the man's deep and pleasant voice. It sounded more magnetic and clear through the phone. What's wrong, Yunyun? Have you eaten? Huashidu glanced sideways and reached out to turn off the music in the room. Yu Hanran, who was in the middle of singing with the young model sister. Aren't you going home for dinner? Bei Yunj asked. At this moment, Yu Hanran really wanted to know what Huashidu was saying to Bei Yunj, but he didn't dare to eavesdrop. He looked at Huashidu with a meaningful gaze. Wasn't the young lady calling at this time to check on him? However, when Huashidu heard this, he lowered his voice and laughed. This flirtatious and seductive look made Yu Hanran's female companion's eyes widen. He said, Do you not know how to do the questions? Bei Yunj said calmly, at this moment. Yu Hanran's eyelids twitched when he heard Huashidu's words. What kind of hobby did Master Du have? He liked to teach young girls to do their homework. Chapter 193. Huashidu asked, What subject? I don't know anything. Bei Yunj's words sounded very confident. Huashidu had always known that this young lady was very smart. If her results were not good, it was very likely that her foundation was weak. However, it was not easy for the young lady to study obediently and make up for her past homework. Then can I go back later? Huashidu's eyes darkened even more, but there was a casual joke in them. Yu Hanran, who had been eavesdropping, really felt that he almost did not recognize Huashidu in front of him. Was Master Du blooming after 10,000 years? He actually knew how to tease young ladies. However, when he thought of Bae Yunj in her school dress, Yu Hanran felt that Master Du's feelings were full of taboos. Was that Miss Pei an adult? At the same time, Bae Yunj thought of what Aunt Miao had said and her beautiful eyes moved. She thought that Huashidu was addicted to a woman. Therefore, his first impression of Yu Hanran was automatically reduced to not a good person. Brother, are you very happy outside? Hearing this, Huashidu laughed hoarsely. His upturned eyes were charming and ostentatious. What? Brother, you must come home at 10:30. Bae Yunj thought for a moment and rested her chin on her hand with a smile. She reminded him kindly, also, brother, don't pick the wild flowers by the roadside. With that said, she hung up. In the private room, Yu Hanran looked at Huashidu, who seemed to have something to say, and suddenly realized something. Their Master Du had been hung up on by a young lady. Master Du, look. Young ladies are like this. They're straightforward. How can there be a 26-year-old woman who's flirtatious and sensible? Yu Hanran hugged his female companions and leaned close to their necks to flirt. Although his female companions were giggling, they stared at Huashidu with a burning gaze. But in the next moment, Huashidu picked up the suit jacket at the side and walked out with his slender and abstinent legs. Master Du. Where are you going? Seeing this scene, Yu Hanran was shocked. Don't we still have a meal? You can handle it. With that, Huashidu pushed open the door, leaving behind a quickly disappearing figure. Master Du likes young girls. One of the female companions couldn't help but ask as she stuck close to Yu Hanran. I say, baby, don't even think about him. Yu Hanran touched her chin, but his smile didn't reach his eyes. Smart girls shouldn't seek their own deaths. Hearing this, the female companion shuddered and hurriedly nodded. Seeing this, Yu Hanran also regained his leisure as if nothing had happened just now. In the living room, Bae Yunj glanced at the completed homework, and her eyelids twitched unconsciously. In the end, he could only pretend to flip open the practice questions at the back and pretend that he hadn't touched a single word. However, after that, Bae Yunj recalled that Huashidu should not be back so soon. She did not heave a sigh of relief. On the contrary, there was a faint feeling of displeasure. It was as if something she liked had been taken away by someone else. However, very quickly, Bae Yunj did not take these emotions that she had never felt before to heart. Instead, he continued to organize the information and prepare for the next project. Half an hour later. This was the third time Aunt Miao saw a certain Pei not far away. He quietly picked up his phone, looked at the time, and quietly put it down. Seeing this, Chapter 194. Aunt Miao was about to speak when Huashidu gestured for her not to speak. Bae Yunj, who had nothing left, picked up her phone again. She looked at the time on the screen and fell into deep thought. It was 8:00. This man did not return home even at 10:00. Suddenly, Bae Yunj began to understand how Huashidu felt when he caught her out of the bar. Bae Yunj closed the laptop immediately. However, she never thought that when she looked up, she would see the handsome and dignified man with one knee slightly bent. His slender and well-defined fingers inadvertently loosened the collar of his shirt. He looked lazy and seductive. At this moment, Bae Yunj's gaze followed the man's sexy Adam's apple and the mole. A mole in that position. He was too lustful. Not long after, she looked away slowly. Bae Yunj said, "Brother, you came back quite early." "Really? I thought Yunyun was scolding me in her heart." Huashidu's gentle gaze landed on her and he chuckled in a low and hoarse voice. His deep and magnetic voice tickled her eardrums. It was simply fatal. No. Bei Yunj raised her head and smiled. It's rare for brother's old house to catch fire. Old house? Huashidu asked. Bei Yunj thought for a moment. Suddenly, she leaned against the coffee table with both hands and cupped her cheeks. Her beautiful eyes curled up as she looked straight at the man's heart. It's the only place on brother's body that can hide people. Hearing this, the man's unreadable gaze landed on her. After a while, his eyes gradually darkened as if he was intoxicated, but he was staring straight at her. Huashidu's thin red lips curled up. He reached out lazily and gently pinched the back of her neck. His low voice was hopelessly sexy. It was ostentatious, frivolous, and playful. So, were you the one who started the fire? Little baddie. This ambiguous gentleness pierced right into her heart. It made people's hearts go numb. At this moment, Bei Yunj also froze. Why did this man make people feel that he was seductive and lustful? Uncontrollable. The image of this man in bed appeared in Bei Yunj's mind. It was simply fatal. Brother, have you eaten? Bei Yunj subconsciously changed the topic. No, I have to rush back to look at the flowers at home. The man smiled faintly. I take care of them every day. They are much more delicate than the wild flowers outside. Bei Yunj accidentally met with his unwavering eyes to look at her. S2's a little. She stood up and went to look for Aunt Meow. S2's. Seeing this, Huashidu chuckled nonchalantly. Then, he leaned back on the sofa and unbuttoned 2 buttons. Ants. Bei Yunj was still tutored for half an hour before she went upstairs to sleep. The next day. Hengda High School. Why did they all too? The moment Bei Yunj returned, she found that everyone was in a hurry. Today's the exam. Lu Unc said naturally. When did you find out? Bei Yunj did not know which examination hall she was in. Just now. Lu Unc patted her shoulder. It's okay, desk mate. I won't be surprised no matter how much you score. After all, she was someone who had joined the class by donating a building to Hingda. Bei Yunj asked. How much can you score? I can't pass the total score. Chapter 195. Hearing this, Lu Unc felt Bei Yunj's gaze on him with faint disdain. Lu Unc was speechless. They were about the same and she dared to despise him. Actually, I'm very good at foreign languages. Lu Unc immediately clarified with a proud expression. It's easy for me to get more than 140 marks. After all, Lu Unc grew up overseas and returned to the country in the 2nd year of junior high. You're amazing. Bei Yunj replied casually as she searched for her stationery in the drawer. Lu Unc's competitive spirit was immediately aroused. You don't believe me, right? This time, I'll let you realize what a true genius is. With that said, Lu Unc left for the examination hall in high spirits. However, Bei Yunj's eyelids moved. She didn't understand why a boy of this age was so silly. The examination seats in Hingda High School were arranged according to results, from the 1st examination hall to the 10th examination hall. Jiao Jiao, you're already like this and you still insist on taking the exam? You're working too hard. The female classmate helped Qin Youjiao to the 1st examination hall and sat down in the 2nd seat. Qin Youjiao smiled. I feel that my study condition hasn't been too good recently, so I wanted to come and test it. No matter how bad the Almighty's condition is, he's not something we mortals can compare to. The girl pretended to sigh before she said, however, I also want to know what results that Bei Yunj from class 7 can get. I heard that she cheated in the exam and was punished before she changed schools. right? TSK, they're both the eldest young miss of the Chin family. The gap between her and you is too big. Okay, let's not talk about her anymore. Qin Yojiao deliberately restrained her smile and said expressionlessly, I don't want Dad, Mom, and second brother to blame me for anything anymore. When this scene landed in the eyes of others, it made them remember those especially mean words to Qin Yojiao online. Qin Yojiao had only posted a post and didn't cause any substantial harm to Bei Yunj. Besides, she had apologized sincerely. Was there a need for those people to insist on it? At this thought, many people even felt that Bei Yunj was not a good person. At the very least, Qin Yojiao had already apologized and deserved to be scolded so badly. Why wasn't Bei Yunj coming out to help her? Jiao Jiao, you don't have to feel guilty. Even if Director Lin is not interested in money, what about Bei Yunj? The female classmate's expression was disdainful, but it was difficult to hide her jealousy in her tone. She was brought up by Director Lin, but doesn't she still want to return to the Qin family? I don't believe that she's doing this for the sake of kinship. In the end, she's still here to compete with you for the family property. Okay, you should go to the examination hall quickly too. Qin Yojiao sighed helplessly. Yes. I'll take my leave then. After the female classmate left, Qin Yojiao smirked at the thought of the parent-teacher conference next week. She really couldn't miss this monthly test. She wanted her second and third brothers to see clearly how unworthy Bei Yunj was to return to the Qin family. Bei Yunj was not familiar with Hingde. When she entered the examination hall, she realized that Lu Yuanci was still sitting next to her. She glanced at Lu Yuanci, who was sleeping on the table, and her eyelids moved. She walked over and knocked on his table. Lu Yuanci, you're sitting in the wrong seat. However, Lu Yuanci clearly did not expect that there would be a day when he would have to give up his position after sitting in the last place for more than a year. Are you getting up? There was a hint of impatience in Bei Yunj's beautiful eyes. Lu Yuanci held back his laughter and slowly moved up a seat. Bei Yunj was speechless. Chapter 196. It was probably because the last 40 students were more fixed. As a result, there was suddenly an eye-catching girl who attracted a lot of attention. However, when the invigilator handed out the papers, the students' attention was diverted and their faces gradually became dejected. At this moment, Bei Yunj glanced at the paper and was about to answer the questions when she remembered how Washido patiently taught her the questions yesterday. She stopped writing and thought for a moment. After about 10 minutes of writing, she leaned on the table to rest. After a whole day of exams, Lu Yuanci was still full of confidence in himself. He turned and asked, "Desk mate, how did you do?" "Barely," Bei Yunj said slowly. Hearing this, Lu Yuanci looked at her with pity. He couldn't bear to expose Bei Yunj's stubbornness. "Don't worry, I'll still choose you next time when we change seats according to the results." Bei Yunj, after school. Bei Yunj had just left Hingde High School when she was stopped by someone. Bei Yunj turned and saw Mr. Qin walking towards her, attracting a lot of attention. Although Mr. Qin was in his 40s or 50s, he didn't look old. He was wearing a neat suit and his elegant eyes were calm and wise. "What's the matter?" Bei Yunj raised her eyebrows. Her naturally smiling eyes didn't have any warmth. "How have you been recently?" Mr. Qin looked uneasy and his throat was dry. "Jiao Jiao doesn't live with your third brother anymore. Why don't you move back home?" During this period, Mr. Qin had thought a lot. He suddenly realized that he owed his daughter a lot. Ever since Bei Yunj returned home, he had only said a few words of concern, but he had never fulfilled his responsibility as a father. And Mrs. Qin was even worse. "Mr. Qin, I'm doing very well now and I don't plan to go back." Bei Yunja's eyes were similar to Mrs. Chen's, but they were brighter and more flamboyant. If you can take care of your daughter and wife, I'll lead a better life. Hearing this, Mr. Chen's body froze. The corners of his lips moved subconsciously. Good, you're also my daughter. Before Mr. Chen could finish speaking, he saw Bei Yunja's calm and composed expression. In an instant, his face burned, and he lost his voice. He had no right to say that Gu was his daughter. Gu if you don't like Jiao Jiao, then I won't let you see her so much in the future. I know about what happened on Tiba, and I understand that you have been wronged. Mr. Chen's lips moved, but his voice softened as he muttered, but she's still my daughter. I hope you don't hate her. However, Bei Yunj sneered when she heard this. When Father Chen heard this, it was a little jarring. Then, she said casually, Mr. Chen, no matter whose daughter Chen Yojiao is, she has to pay back the debt she owes. When Mr. Chen heard this, his heart tightened, and his expression became even more miserable. However, when Bei Yunj saw this scene, she was still indifferent. Don't look for me in the future. I'm very busy. Bei Yunj's tone was cold. With that said, she was ready to leave. Suddenly. Tomorrow night is old Madame Lu's birthday. Are you still going? Mr. Chen's eyes were filled with anticipation. Bei Yunj looked up, her face expressionless. It's the last time. From now on, anything in the Chen family has nothing to do with me. With that said. Chapter 197. Mr. Chen watched as Bei Yunj left. He opened his mouth, but he could not make a sound. His hands clenched into fists helplessly. At this moment, Bei Yunj walked through the crowd. She had only taken a few steps when she suddenly stopped. The man standing under the green shadow casually bit on a cigarette. It made people feel that he was in a romantic mood. But in the next moment, the man's gaze fell on her unwaveringly. His knuckled hand clamped down on the cigarette, and the corners of his lips curled up. A pair of cold and indifferent eyes were staring straight at her. It was a coincidence. Bei Yunj walked towards him and her gaze unconsciously landed on the mole on his Adam's apple. She had an inexplicable urge to touch it. After this thought flashed through her mind, Bei Yunj realized that her hand was already in midair. Very quickly, Bei Yunj reacted and immediately retracted her hand. But who would have thought, at this moment, the man looked down at her casually. His eyes were so dark that they could not be seen clearly. Suddenly, Bei Yunj heard a hoarse and magnetic laughter above her head. It sounded as if it was about to hit the girl's heart ruthlessly. She could not avoid it. Her heart skipped a beat and she instinctively looked up. Brother, at the same time, Washidu suddenly reached out and gently grabbed her wrist. Then, he nonchalantly threw away the cigarette between his fingers on his other hand. Before Bei Yunj could react, he pulled her wrist gently. With a quick step, she bumped into the embrace of the cold fragrance floating in the air. Have I not hugged you enough in the past? Washidu rubbed the back of her head gently with his palm. His lazy and frivolous voice and ambiguous gentleness tickled her ears. It was only when she was brought into the car that Bei Yunj realized what was going on. When she reached out to him just now, Washidu must have mistakenly thought that she wanted to hug him but did not dare to. Soon. Bei Yunj asked belatedly, Brother, did you see it just now? Yes. Washidu did not hide it and answered indifferently. Just now, he had seen Bei Yunj and Mr. Chen talking not far away. It was also a rare sight for him to see the little girl's cold expression. Washidu's answer also confirmed Bei Yunj's guess. This man probably thought that she was in a bad mood after quarreling with Mr. Chen. So when she saw him, she wanted to hug him. This misunderstanding was really interesting. What happened? Huishidu looked ahead and asked. No. Bei Yunj glanced at him quickly. Her eyes were curved, and she turned her head to look at the scenery outside the window. Huishidu suddenly said, Yun. Bei Yunj turned to look at him. Be more reserved. Don't secretly smile after taking advantage of your brother. Huishidu's posture was lazy and light. It was indescribably seductive. His deep and pleasant voice was mixed with the joy of joking. It was simply irredeemably sexy. Bei Yunj simply changed the topic. He came to look for me just now because he wants me to go to the Liu family's birthday banquet tomorrow night. You don't want to go? Go. It's the last time I'll listen to him. Bei Yunj glanced at him again. Brother, why are you free to come and pick me up today? I heard that today is Hingda's February exam. Bei Yunj, why was he more informed than her? Why didn't Yun tell me about this? Huishidu asked unhurriedly. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.